I know if you a shooter by the way you're handling the gun. Gambling, you're done. Shells burn like candles in the sun. I'm not a fan of gun violence, nor having a strap, but get popped once, and I swear that you'll be scrambling for one. But our plans was to get funds and skate off the set, so I mixed the kush with the dro to make all my weight stretch. I'm from with a dudes rob and argue all day about who's the best MC, Saha Stacks and T.I. while dodging the GBI. My bad, I love GZI, but I'm still the best to ever do it, and I ain't even put a CD out. So the next time you say that I ain't got no lyricists, I just think you ain't got a taste of this exquisite shit. My verses are like Leviticus to the underprivileged. I make music for the world, you make music for a stripper bitch. Nick Black leather, beret cap era, guns at your capital, take it to that measure. It's Huey, nigga. It's Huey, nigga. Never been a victim, a rebel against the system. Lames wanna diss them and women just wanna kiss them. It's Huey, nigga. It's Huey, nigga. It's that God flow, what they nailed Jesus to the cross for. And he came back 3 days after he died flow. This Pablo, talking to kids in Chicago, mob flow. This that midget New Jersey drive flow. Side note, I wrote this rap with my eyes closed, bravo. Cause it came out clean as the Moss flow, Costco. Hoes selling they twat for a condo. Benny Hunters and Roscoe, Picasso. Knives mixed with a pop flow. Rappers can't stand me. This that Grammy knife flow. Let me stop though, cause I'm going digital with the syllables. Saha the Prince and I'm royalty like residual. These hoes for me, they supposed to be hospitable. When they in the house with a nigga that's not typical, this not fictional. I run this bitch like elliptical. Can another rapper come out of Atlanta if he not lyrical? Nigga, black leather, beret cap era, guns at your capital, take it to that measure. It's Huey, nigga. It's Huey, nigga. Never been a victim, a rebel against the system. Lames wanna diss them and women just wanna kiss them. It's Huey, nigga. It's Huey, nigga.
This that shot right, where out of towners die at. I advise you book your flight now and fly back. Gangland, bang then, what you claim, fam? Box Chevys, foreigns, $150 flow. Young nigga got bitches at the 50 though. 50 pack done, good, drop off 50 more. My city rough, but I made it in it. Trap house look like it's what K's invented. Trust nobody, even friends, look, I hate up in it. Rhyme dirty with your bitch smoking, wait a minute. LA garage with Illinois and Decatur in it. Nigga snitching, I'm like, way to win it. Nigga looking like a state defendant. Photo look like a two though. My two though look like a full though. I'm cutting up, call me Zorro. Hit him in his mask, get him a body bag. Give me a track, and I'ma body that.
Man, peace to everybody out there in these YouTube streets. I don't know if it's going to be a few people to show up or whatever the case may be. It's kind of impromptu. And usually our people, especially on the channels that I'm on, relate specifically to a certain type of information. I am streaming from 2 channels though. I do see Sister Moshi on the Enia Red channel, along with some other people that I actually tapped in. So peace to everybody on that side. Peace to Sutek. I see you, Sutek. I see you 9x9 and all the other viewers that's kind of peeped in on the Kofi Pie side. So we're going to get into the business real quick because there's a lot of noise and a lot of things that are eating up people's algorithms in these YouTube streets surrounded Coach Prime. Tyson in the background, he loud. We're going to get it how we're going to get it. So for anyone that may catch the replay later or have an interest in it, it is what it is. Please just like the show and share the show. That's all I ask. You know the drill. Like the show, share the show. You might be able to catch some people's interest or whatnot. I know there's a show that's going on right now in the HBCU space. Well, there's a lot of people that are tuned into that. However, like the show, share the show. I do see the numbers kind of moving up on 2 different channels, so let's get it in. All right, so let me share my screen, man, and let me talk to y'all a little bit so we can get this going. All right, so why we here today? Yeah, Canva with the artwork. This is why we here today. Was Coach Prime ever for the culture? Right? Was Coach Deion Sanders ever for the culture? That's why we here. We have a validity, well, we have a group of people who say that he was not for the culture. He's been called a coon, a sellout. He's been called several names. You had people on CNN that talked about him. And I may pull it up on YouTube and we get into that. Actually, I am, because I need to do that, but I'm gonna do it live so that everybody can see what was said and how it was said and by who. And we kind of catch some of their points and we incorporate that into today's bill. So, was Coach Prime ever for the culture? And anyone's honest opinion that is actually watching the show right now that may want to be able to answer that, please feel free to answer that. Tyson going in. Y'all know how it is. My dog, he snores. Answer it. You can answer it. If you got to answer right now, go ahead and answer. I was not happy with that guy. Okay. Mo says she was not happy with the guy on CNN. We're going to play his words and we're going to look around the YouTube algorithms and we're going to get some other people's words and then we're going to get into the full bill. So please like the show, share the show. But the question remains, was Coach Prime ever for the culture? All right. So here goes the overview. Our objective will be the first thing that we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you a brief introduction. I'm going to define culture, and then I'm going to lay out the argument. The argument, I labeled it the prime effect because I'm only going to highlight some of the things that I need to talk about, and it's not going to be slides, right? They're just basically my talking points. And if anybody want to argue against it or whatever the case may be, you will have the ability and audacity to challenge anything that has been presented here. I don't need you to wait till you in the comments and try to talk crazy. You can come live and speak your speech. Even though we know your math ain't mathing. So the objective today is to summarize the previous 2 years of Coach Prime's coaching career, his impact on Jackson State, and weigh his actions or contributions, if any, to Jackson State or HBCUs. Was he for the culture according to his efforts, or did he sell us a false narrative he couldn't live up to? That's the objective, is to answer some key questions surrounding Coach Prime and the demise of him leaving HBCUs to a PWI. All right, now I will break away when I get into searching those videos and playing them for y'all because I need to do that. I did not want to prepare it that way, but we're going to get into this stuff. So on December 3rd, Coach Prime announced to his team that he'd be leaving for a new job in Colorado. Prior to his conversation with the team, the rumor broke according to 247 interview with a 5-star wide receiver from California, citing he was waiting to commit because the coach had informed them that he'll be taking a job at Colorado. Alum and those associates with the program got wind of the news around Thanksgiving as people began to prepare to search for the successor of Coach Prime. So I want to go ahead and I want to define culture. Culture is that complex whole that which includes knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, customs, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. That comes from an anthropologist. That is a definition that comes from an anthropologist. Let's move forward. But that doesn't fully define culture. I know what y'all saying. How you gonna let the white man define culture? All right. Defining culture. Black culture now is the innovation of art, music, language, laws, customs, and traditions. Black culture is about pleasure, enjoyment, and amusement. Now, HBCUs tend to argue that they have a distinct culture that is separate from Black culture or culture, but has yet to show any differences. However, this new age of HBCUers are probably referring to tradition, which fits the criteria better than culture. The HBCU experience, the traditions involved, is different from other elements of Black culture because you have to be in that atmosphere to actually understand what's going on. So hopefully I'm making myself pretty clear on how things are transpiring. Now, before I get into Coach Prime and all the other stuff, I want to go live. And I want to show you what some of the people have been saying. Now, I already did the copyright thing. I'm cool on that. Yeah, I'm on my page. So let me try to go into my history. And let me see if I can find some of the stuff that's in my history. First, let me pull up the CNN. I forget dude's name, man. Yeah, I think this is him right here. Once the commercial come out, we're gonna get it in.
We're gonna have one of the best staff, some of the best scouts, some of the best kids that we're recruiting. The commitments already coming on the way as I speak.
So that is new University of Colorado head football coach Deion Sanders promising fans and his new players that he is going to bring the winning culture he established at Jackson State and HBCU in Mississippi to his new team.
How about that? Yeah, how about that?
So Sanders is now being criticized as a so-called sellout for leaving Jackson after many envisioned him altering the landscape of sports at historically Black colleges and universities. He did land top recruits. He went 27-5 in 3 seasons and just won the school's second Southwestern Athletic Conference title in years. Sanders will now try to replicate that success in a more competitive league with a Colorado team that just went 1-11. So joining us now, the perfect person to talk about that, Bomani Jones, a third-generation HBCU graduate who went to Clark Atlanta University. He's also the host of Game Theory with Bomani Jones, which will kick off its second season on HBO and HBO Max in January. Wow, that is a giant lead-in to you. You have lots of accomplishments. Thank you this morning. So, this is... I kind of feel like we're talking about family business, like in front of everybody. You know what I'm talking about? Because there's a long tradition in the African American community about HBCUs and whether you go, whether you're not. Why can't Deion Sanders just choose to be with who he wants to be?
Oh, he can go take whatever job he wants, but when you come into the first job, sell the idea that you are going to be the savior of HBCUs and you are going to raise the playing field, not just for Jackson State, but for everybody else. And you're going to do it because God told you to do it.
He said that.
Yeah, he said that. He explicitly said that God sent him to do this. So then when you leave, people are going to ask questions about what exactly it was. Now, I don't go into the sellout place necessarily, But I do think, he's the monorail salesman from The Simpsons. He went in, he sold the big dream. Now, if you paid any attention, you knew the dream he was selling wasn't possible. It was not an achievable one that he had. But he sold it, and he got people to believe it, and then he chucked the deuce and left.
So you know Shannon Sharpe, right?
Yes.
So and you've heard his comments.
Yes.
I'm sure. I want to play them for our audience because Shannon Sharpe has this sort of a rising tide lifts all boats. Then maybe that helped the entire HBCU. Let's play this, and I want your response to it.
Deion did something that very few coaches are able to do. He leveraged his relationships. Skip, no football team had more uniforms than Jackson State except the University of Oregon. Under Armour, every single week, they got new helmets. They got new unis. He did this with Walmart. He took $150,000 of his salary and helped finish building the facilities.
He did.
He leveraged his relationship with American Airlines. He brought eyes to HBCUs, Skip. There wasn't nobody talking about HBCUs, especially now. They're talking about, they're on television. That's because of him. He gave you a blueprint. Now follow the blueprint.
He's saying basically mission accomplished. What do you think?
Well, part of it, and I love Shannon to death, part of where I disagree with him is so much of that was singular to Deion Sanders. Like, we do have to admit that he is the charismatic individual. Like, just because Deion could do it doesn't mean that everybody else can do it. That's the first part. The second thing, they're going to play in the Celebration Bowl, I believe, next week in Atlanta against the champions of the MEAC. They played in that bowl game last year. South Carolina State blew their doors off in that game. Do you know the head coach at South Carolina State? Can you name a single player at South Carolina State? I can't. It brought attention to Deion. It brought attention to Jackson State. You weren't going to bring attention to all these other schools in the time period that he was there. Like, if he was really going to accomplish that, that's a 10-year program, at least.
You're saying he had to stay.
Yeah.
And so 60 Minutes profiled him just like a month or two ago. And it was on that program. He said, I believe that God called me collect and I had to accept the charges. And then he said this, let's play it.
It's a lot of folks sit back with Twitter fingers and talk about what they're going to do. And I wanted to go do it.
Do what?
Change lives, change the perspective of HBCU football, make everyone step up to the plate and do what's right by these kids.
Didn't he do that at least by starting it? And now, as Shannon was saying, is it up to others to carry it forward?
If you can go find another Deion Sanders, right? Like, that's the thing of this, is that if you're talking about establishing something long-term, right? Something that is sustainable, the idea he got it started, now you go do it.
Yeah.
Aren't you making his blueprint argument? Because there are others who are in the NFL or former NFL players who are charismatic
Who could do it?
and who could step into
Deion
other
Sanders has
HBCUs.
spent the last 35 years telling us there ain't but one Deion Sanders. Now he's telling us go find somebody else to do what Deion Sanders does. You can't have this both ways. I don't judge him for taking the job at Colorado. They probably increased his salary by something like 15 times, right? I totally get that. It all makes sense. But what he did was something that college coaches do all the time, which is you have to sell people 4-year, 10-year plans when your plan is always 1 year at a time. That's the only way that you could really pull that off. And so he came in and he sold a long-term vision for what was going on at Jackson State, but his goals and ambitions were always to be a Power 5 head coach. My take has always been he went to Jackson State primarily because he wanted to be a head coach, but didn't want to ever be anybody's assistant coach. So he had to find somebody that would give him a job and make him a head coach, and so he could have that on his resume, and then he could take that to try to get the job that he actually wanted. Jackson State was the place that could do it, and he did a lot of good work while he was at Jackson State. But all the bigger, grandiose notions of what he was doing for somebody else, no, it was what it always is. He did it for Deion, and that's fine if you don't tell us that you're trying to do this for somebody else.
But can't he do both? Can't he go to a program and be there for 3 years, only have 5 losses like he did, and bring the attention? Maybe the next person won't be, prime time. They won't be as charismatic as he is, but he still did bring attention to it. And what I've seen from the athletic director and other people is they were grateful for him, and they talked about him going on, and something he signaled because of the financial disparities here.
No, he's very good, but I think the magnitude of the financial disparity is so much greater than anybody realizes. I think the magnitude of the financial disparity between HBCUs and other FCS schools, the smaller division in Division I, is bigger than people realize it is. So there's room to criticize him for the way that he has left and for the fact that his initial rhetoric is not in line with his ultimate decision.
What would you have him do? What would you have the man do?
Oh, well, I wouldn't have come in the first place and said that God sent me here to fix HBCUs, and God decided that in the middle of it you were supposed to leave. Right? I mean, like, the thing I've said is maybe God wants 10% of $5 million and not 10% of $375. If God can do math, I can understand why it is. He sold a dream and then walked out on the dream. People have the right to be critical of that. I also would have taken the job that he took at Colorado, right? It's not a judgment of the fact that he took the job, but this is not in line with what he told us for all these years.
But the reason I'm glad we're having this conversation is because it does highlight those massive financial disparities. And so I guess the question is not just, do you have to hire a charismatic coach who brings attention to your program to fix it? What's the other way to fix it?
The problem that we have here is, if you watched, especially during the pandemic when everybody had all their crypto money and you had all these different schools that were like, yo, we now have more billionaires donating to our schools, plural, billionaires, because that's what makes this work really, is those donations and big television deals. That's where the money comes from. We got 8 black billionaires in the United States, and you can name 6 of them, right? Like, you may not know it off the top of your head, but they're all people that you know. The initial capital that is necessary, that's the hard part. At a school like Jackson State, in a city that's been choked off by the state of Mississippi for as long as anybody can remember, and underfunded for as long as anybody can remember, the money they need and the things that need to be done, football is not the place where we're going to start with this in the first place. And at some point, we have to ask ourselves, does it matter whether or not the football team is great? Does it matter? Because everything that people were doing and giving money to serve these players that they now thought could go to the NFL could be done for all the players that they have anywhere, even if they're not as good at football as the ones that Deion.
This is so weird for me, because we used to talk about this sitting around the table as a kid. I've lived blocks from Southern University, and everybody's Southern Grambling in my family. So this is so weird to be having this conversation
At this table.
about HBCUs and the athletic program.
We love having you.
I
Come back
appreciate
soon. Thank you, Bomani. Very much.
All right, so you heard his perspective, and I did not stop it nowhere. I wanted you to have it fresh if you're unfamiliar with it. Now, let me see if I can pull up the other videos. Just at the videos, yo. Everybody, I don't even know this dude, but reacting, and everybody has an opinion. This dude did a 3-hour show, had a call in. Blue Bloods had a 3-hour show and was a call in. There's been like 90 shows on 90 shows on Coach Prime, and people dogging him out. He's a sellout, he's a coon, he's this, he's that. I really need to get to this other video that I want to play, so then I can get into some of the other things. Now you're gonna hear people say some stuff, and they be like, "Oh yeah, well yeah, he did do this, so he did do that, yada yada yada." But at the end of the day, they they kind of going a whole nother way, right? They called him a hypocrite, said that he didn't do what he said he was gonna do. I'm not playing Keyshawn Johnson. I want to give y'all the real. That's why I said I wanted to do it live, because I want y'all to see, and I'm showing y'all some of the videos that I've been hitting. Just what's been going on outside of comedic stuff. So here go another video right here. I need to start it over for all y'all. And I'm not gonna play this entire video because it's a little bit longer, but the first 10 minutes of this particular video, you're gonna gain some interest.
Went to Loyola New Orleans, a Jesuit institution.
Own every mile.
Now y'all just seen me here skip, and this mug went right back to a commercial.
Leaving Jackson State to become the new coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. Michael Holley, how do you feel about this development?
You know, it's funny. I was talking to a big fan of the show earlier today, a brother named Nick Bates, a good brother at Boston University, runs the Howard Thurman. He's the director of the Howard Thurman Center. Y'all don't know who Howard Thurman is? Look up Howard Thurman. Anyway, Nick Bates is like, man, I can't wait for y'all to talk about this on Brother from Another. So I just went up to him today. I said, no, I want to hear what you have to say about it. He brought up a really good point. He was like, how do we look at, I'm giving him credit. He said, you know, how are we looking at Deion really informs how you feel about it. He said, if you looked at Deion as part of the SWAC tradition, You looked at him as like the next Eddie Robinson. You looked at him as the next guy who was going to bring back the brilliance and the artistry and the dignity to Black college football. Then you're disappointed. You feel betrayed.
Well, I mean,
But Nick's point.
don't let Eddie Robinson Jr. hear you say that. Just so you know.
And by the way, Eddie
he ain't
Robinson
sweat.
Jr. Eddie Robinson Jr. He may have lost the rhetorical battle. He may have lost the freestyle to Deion, but he won the argument. Going away. This is exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah.
That Deion is not really about. Eddie Robinson Jr., no relation, by the way, said, "Hey, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants," and he named some people in this conference that, if Deion's being honest, and a lot of us are being honest, there are some names that we hadn't heard before. Like he knew what he was talking about. So he really was about swag. And that was his point about Deion. He said Deion's a great Hall of Fame football player, only guy to play in the Super Bowl and the World Series, great talent, great entertainer, all of that stuff, great recruiter, great advertiser, pitchman, preacher, all that stuff. But he really wasn't about that swag life. And he's right. If we were looking at him as a guy who was going to stay in the SWAC for the rest of his career, I'll speak for myself. I was projecting. He never said that. He never gave that indication that this was a lifelong mission for him. And so,
as a matter of fact, he was pretty transparent about if the right job came along, he'd be foolish not to listen. I'm pretty sure he's on record as saying that.
But he has done, and I don't know if this is intentional or not. I know there's only one Deion. Like Deion is just, he's got a magnetism. He's got charisma. He just oozes charisma. He doesn't even try. It's just natural for him. But he may have unintentionally, Mike, opened the door for other people. People weren't looking at historically black colleges and universities for their next coach. Now, Colorado was. Colorado knows about some black coaches. Okay, Colorado hires a lot of black coaches. This is like third in a row for Colorado, and the rest of big time college football is like, huh? We don't. Where do you find these? Where do you find these Afro Americans? Where are they? Because Colorado knows how to find them. But the fact is, he's 27-5 at Jackson State. I didn't realize they never had an undefeated season in their history. He had the first one. He turned around this program. He got big time recruits to come to Jackson State, and the attention was there, and he knows how to coach. So what Deion did was prove his chops at a lower level, whether we like to say that or not, at a lower level of college football. He proved his chops. He got an opportunity. He got a pay raise. He got a bigger platform, and he took it. But Nick's point, and this is what I love what he said, and I'll give it back to you. Nick said, why are we always looking at he said, whether it's sports or civil rights, why are we always looking at a messianic figure to save us? So there are a lot of people doing the work, but we want that one guy to represent all the things that a lot of people can be doing. He's right. I have no issue with Deion Sanders, although I wish he had stayed at Jackson State for 10 years, but he never claimed that, and I shouldn't have expected it.
I like how you put that. I'll answer my own question. I ask you how you feel. I'll tell you how I feel. I'm disappointed. Have I ever told you the story of that time when Jesse Jackson checked me over Jackie Robinson? Let me tell you that story.
Yeah. Tell me again, because I remember this.
Okay. So I did a Negro League like symposium panel for the Chicago White Sox. And Jesse Jackson was there. Reverend Jesse Jackson was there. And I made the remark about Jackie Robinson getting called up to the major leagues. And admittedly, I was not referencing him getting called up from Montreal. I was talking about from the Negro Leagues to the major leagues. And Jesse Jackson was like, and again, I didn't mean it this way, but it was just, it was just the way I expressed it. I wasn't thinking about how that sounded and what that meant. And he was like, what do you mean called up to the major leagues? That would imply, he said in so many words, that would imply that the Negro Leagues were inferior to the major leagues. When, as we all know, or should know, the talent in the Negro Leagues was equal, if not superior, to that in the then segregated major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I bring that up to say the reason I'm disappointed is I thought Deion Sanders at Jackson State was a representation of the fact that their ice ain't colder. I thought that Deion Sanders was standing for something bigger. And so you said, if you thought that he was going to be a Jackson State or a SWAC lifer, then that's on you. I guess I'll agree with that by saying that it's on me for buying what he was selling. Because I'll be honest with you, Michael. Yeah, that's how you got Travis Hunter to go there. I mean, that was the brand. The brand was, hey, we're gonna do this here at Jackson State. We're gonna put on for HBCUs here. Like, you don't have to go to a PWI, a predominantly white institution. You don't have to go to Florida State. You can come to Jackson State and get a great education, be nurtured, be protected, be coached, be developed. You can get the same things here. Now, we know the resources aren't the same. We know that. But I thought that Deion was going to be at the forefront of this zeitgeist. I thought that he was going to be a part of changing that. Because I when he said to his own team, when he said, in coaching, you either get elevated or you get terminated. Well, that goes back to what I just said about Jesse Jackson. Elevated. The idea, and I realize he's the first HBCU coach to get a Power 5 job. But that Power 5 job is the worst program in the Power 5, or among the worst programs in the Power 5.
Well, the idea in their conference.
We're in their conference. And they've been bad for a long time.
All right, so now you got it from the brothers, right? So, you know what I'm saying? I'm letting y'all see who's saying everything, right? You ain't heard nobody else saying anything. Now, I'm gonna take y'all to a place. Do I want to do that? Nah, you know what? I'm not gonna involve no other channels. I want to continue. So now I want to talk about the prime effect. And I'm going to get back into it, Mo. I know you want me to show the video of him talking to his team and so on and so forth. I'm not here for that. I'm here to deal with evidence and evidence only. So Deion Sanders was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons in 1989. I'm not even going to talk, or I'm not going to bring up baseball at all. Everybody should know that he played two sports. He played in the World Series and the Super Bowl on the same day. Deion Sanders was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons in 1989. There's a picture of Deion Sanders with like Mr. T gold chains on and a cell phone and some like Versace glasses at the time in all black. Had a little gold grill and all that in his mouth, whatever he had, right? He knew that he was going in the top picks, one of the top picks in the draft. Here comes prime time. Now, before prime time, the cornerback position wasn't paid that much in the NFL. Before prime time, it wasn't seen as an elevated position. Although they were athletic, the receivers, the quarterbacks were more of the defensive ends and linebackers were more of an essential high pay in the NFL at this time, because you had teams that was running the ball downhill and you didn't have a lot of people just throwing it like that, but you did have great receivers for those who were airing it out. When he gets drafted, he brings in what you seen. Some of y'all might not see it because you're in one chat and it's in another chat, but he ushers in swagger. He was the trendsetter for swagger. He was the trendsetter for how you look. Everybody know his saying, look good, feel good, play good. You know, everybody know that. If you look good, feel good, you play good, they pay good, right? Everybody know that coming from him. But when he arrived at Atlanta, it was a show. He said everybody came to see him. That's just the way that he felt. But along with that, he brought in the hip hop culture, or he brought in rap to the NFL. Before primetime, there was no one affiliated with rappers like that, although they may have listened to the music. No one was truly associated with these rappers like that. This is also at the time that MC Hammer is blowing radios off the walls, and it just so happened that him and Prime links, and it becomes a connection, and Prime gets to do all of these other things. With the rap game, you heard me talk about swagger was the dress code. As kids growing up, Primetime did several things. What did he do that was different? He tied his jersey in a knot. Okay, that's no big deal. Everybody else was doing it. Showing his lower gut area. Okay, everybody else was doing it, but just not on that level. Primetime wore wristbands up on his arms, and he didn't wear them initially on his wrist unless he had multiple wristbands. So those wristbands that the tennis people wear in their matches, he took those and moved them up on his arms by his elbows. Hence the transformation for these new sleeves that have the pad by the elbow. He set a trend. The sock, from the socks people wear to how they wear their cleats, how they wear headbands on the sideline, do-rags on the sideline, gold chains. When you see a football player today with their gold chain on under their equipment, they got that from Primetime. His kids do that at the game. And I'm not talking about his kids as in Shador and Shiloh. I'm talking about his other kids, the players on the football team. The John Warren Nugget does it. Nugget's little brother does it. There's several people that had a little chain on. You might not see it. But everybody got that Primetime swag, which takes us back to the Jurek, which I just mentioned. He elevated the cornerback position, but he was not the official first person to play both sides, but he played both sides of the ball. So he went on defense, he went on offense, and he went on special teams. He elevated the play. He scored touchdowns, returning punts, returning interceptions, catching touchdown passes. Everybody saw his run with Dallas. Everybody saw him with the 49ers. Everybody saw Primetime in Atlanta because he was the hottest thing going. He was a two-sport athlete. Like I said earlier, he played both baseball and he played football. And he could have did a host of other things. Throughout his early career, football and all of that, as he began to transition out of sports, he began to get into Little League coaching. He would coach youth football for a while. Someone would come to him with an idea to start what they call Prime Prep. The people that started Prime Prep wanted to use his name as a position to boost up the school, draw young kids in and youth into this prep academy. Using his name, he wasn't responsible for finances or anything like that, but it had his name on it. So he was involved in these meetings, but he wanted to coach. So he coached at Prime Prep. The school would end up failing later on because of mismanagement of funds. And when he finds out about that, him and the head person at Prime Prep got into it in front of staff. And the dude said that Prime put his hands on him and roughed him up. He was fired that day, never returned to Prime Prep. And then later you would have the end to Prime Prep. Following Prime Prep, while he was doing Prime Prep, he had a TV reality show on Oprah's network, OWN. He showed off Shador as a little kid. He showed off his Bucky, his oldest son. He showed off Shiloh. We seen episodes of them all getting along. Shalomi and the other sisters. We saw that, right? We saw the multiple women. We saw that. I'm saying multiple women because you see Tracy today, but back then you saw somebody else. Now, he goes to NFL Network, which I don't mention. He doing NFL Network. He doing Under Armour combines for high school kids, All-American games. He's coaching them up. He's still coaching Shedeur up in schools. He's at high school, being a high school football coach. He's doing all of these things. So Shedeur goes through school, getting ready to graduate. His dad wants to get in coaching at another level. He can't get into coaching at another level because he doesn't have his degree. But he gets into a conversation with an AD by the name of Ashley Robinson, who helps set him up where he can get a degree at Talladega, an HBCU, so that he could finish the school and then he would be eligible to coach. He gets the rest of his credits, whatever he needed to do to put himself in position to be able to coach. He gets the degree. Everything is good. He is set up by Jackson State. So in 2019, in November, he knows that he's walking into Jackson State as their head football coach. He's announced to the world. They bring him in the stadium in Escalades, courted him just like Prime would want it. He's wearing a suit. The suit got JSU colors. He's got JSU flagged up everywhere out on him. He's sharp to a T, and he speaks. He brings the family. Everybody is involved. From that day, he inherited a team that would not look like the team he had in the fall or the following year. He got rid of some of the kids in the spring, brought in some transfers. Jackson State won some games, lost some games. That really wasn't where he wanted them to be. It was a rough spring season, that COVID year, but they made it through. They had a winning record. Here's the thing though. At the time, Jackson State practice field had potholes in it so bad that if you ran over one of them holes, you could twist or break your ankle. The track that surrounded the practice field was horrible. Their locker rooms was horrible. Their meeting halls were horrible. They didn't have everything that you would expect a college facility to have. Prime would speak out about those things. So he would invest in the school in this particular process. Now, remember, I'm only dealing with facts. I'm not dealing with people's feelings because I don't care about your feelings. He invests in the program which he is affiliated with, which was not a part of his contract. And I'm going to go back and play a video from today where Neely actually says some of the things that you need to know. I forget the timestamp, but I'm going to play enough of it for you to get it. But none of the stuff that he did was in his contract. He brought on corporate sponsors. The president was not involved. The AD was not involved. But he brought them on to get new field, get new turf, get new track around the field, to get them new equipment, uniforms. That's why you hear people talk about they got the most uniforms out of any HBCU. Helmets. They had like 6 different helmets. Not only that, he was able to rebuild the locker rooms, rebuild the meeting halls, and even get a nice lounge with a barbershop in it for his kids to get their haircuts before every game or any photo op. Going into the fall season, Jackson State would win a game early, drop a game early. They would lose basically 2 out of conference games, but they would win everything else in conference. They ended up 11-2 in his first full season. That Celebration Bowl loss, they lost to ULM. They won everywhere else. The team had changed coordinators within that time. but it was still going down. Prime had to have surgery on his foot. He loses 2 toes, misses a large portion of the second half of the season, comes back the Southern game. That's the historic game where Malachi Wideman catches the touchdown pass that helps them win the game. And Prime and Shador hugged, and you see him crying and all of that. There's a documentary about that. Oh, I forgot about that. He shoots a documentary the entire season, every season that he's there. The spring season, the fall season, and the final season all have documentaries. He documented everything, right? So we have the evidence for that. And the last document, the other 2 documentaries are on Barstool's page. You can watch them on YouTube for free. Amazon is going to air, I think it's a 4-part series of Coach Prime's final year at Jackson State. All of everything that he's doing is documented and going to be in that Amazon show documentary. This season, he goes, well, during the spring off season, let me just say that after the Celebration Bowl, they lose to South Carolina State. They wasn't focused. Coach Prime takes the blame. He goes back to the drawing board to fix his issues. He goes in the transfer portal and gets a massive amount of talent out of the transfer portal, signs the #1 high school player in the country, and then he selects a top 40 player, Kevin Coleman, chooses to go to Jackson State to play alongside Travis Hunter. They buzzing. They got 2 back-to-back top 20 recruiting classes. They're the top #1 and 2 recruiting classes in the FCS. The first year they was #1. The second recruiting class they were #2 behind Mike Mentor's Camel team, based on percentage base. Still, he did all of that. The coach was paid to coach at $300,000 a year. To get all the facilities, the TVs, and the locker rooms and stuff done before the beginning of this season, he dedicated half his salary to that. To get that done. So that's money out of his pocket to put back into a program and everything else that came behind it. This year, they go undefeated. They're 12-0 right now. They are back-to-back SWAC champions. There was a comment made on the first interview that we watched from Old Boy, who talked about Prime ain't SWAC. If he ain't SWAC, how the hell he win 2 SWAC back-to-back championships? And the second one, again, he's undefeated in the SWAC. He's 16-0 in the SWAC. He has a 16-0 record in the SWAC with 2 SWAC championships. So we get toward the end of the year. There's a rumor circulating that Prime could be leaving a week before Thanksgiving. It picks up around Thanksgiving, and it just continues to gain traction the closer that we get to the SWAC championship game. Everybody thought it would be a distraction. The team wouldn't be focused. They came out and played tough. They ended up winning. That makes them 12-0. After the game, he wraps up. They didn't celebrate as long as people wanted them to celebrate, because he wanted to take the kids back and address the rumors that they had been hearing and not hearing anything from him. He was ridiculed for that by people. They played One Monkey Don't Stop No Show while they were accepting the trophy. He said he was emotional. We're going to get into how he felt and all of that in just a second, because we're going to continue to build on this. But I just want to show the evidence, because the evidence is there. Forget the feelings, right? During the first water crisis, not the water crisis, but the ice storm in Jackson, Prime made it a point to get his kids where they needed to be kept so that they had proper water and necessities and things like that to make it through during the ice storm, because they were unable to use anything. They were unable to take baths. They had to go remember, there's video footage of the man having to go take a bath in the swimming pool, clean himself. That's aired in the documentary. Then you have water problem. which stems from the ice storm. So now you ain't got no water on campus. You got to displace kids and all of that. Now you got to put them back in hotels. You had to do that again. Never mind his radio and wallet and all that stuff being stolen out of the locker room, or Shiloh's truck being broken into, or all the other activity that normally happens around our inner cities. All of that stuff transpired. None of that don't even really matter. What matters is if he was for the culture. So remember, I asked y'all this question earlier. Was Deion Sanders for the culture? That's the show. That's the show. So before I go any further, I want to go to the pregame, and I'm going to go to Well Off Media, which is Bucky's stuff, and I want to show y'all something. Now, they just did a live today. Right here's this live. But before I get into this live, I want to get into this video upload. Coach Prime right here. Right?
Recordings just got.
Now, I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to get into the other thing, and then I'm going to kind of circle around, and then I'm going to give you the business.
Honestly, it's like they get ready to set up a lie. I hate when people do that.
Great coaches get job offers and replace bad coaches.
True.
Great teams get invited to bowl games.
Mm-hmm.
99 out of 100 times in college football, when a great coach moves on and his team has a bowl game, he doesn't coach the bowl game.
True that.
It's really never happened before. Why was it important, or is it important to you that you coach this bowl game?
We preach finishing, not only finishing athletically, but finishing academically, finishing socially, economically, relationally. We want everything you have the audacity to start, you need to finish. And whatever your understanding of finishing is, we set forth with a goal this season to be dominant. We really didn't mention undefeated, but if you're dominant, ultimately you're going to be undefeated. And we're not yet finished. So although God has promoted me, we still have a task at hand to complete. And I just feel passionate about these young men, this program, the personnel that's associated with this program, the fans, the alumni, the staffers. We got to finish and complete this assignment.
You know, you met with your team after the game.
True.
And again, looking at other coaches who moved on, that doesn't happen a lot.
Those are my kids, man. Those are my babies. These are my young men and women who made it possible for me to soar. I receive a lot of the recognition and what word am I looking for? The praise for our success, but it ain't no way in the world I could be who I am, or we could be who we are, without everyone involved. I mean, we're a hand that's truly closed and clenched together to compose a fist, and I love it. Now, everyone in here is truly important to me, and I needed to sit down and elaborate on what was what. I don't like rumors. I don't like hearsay. I don't like gossip. I don't like the foolishness like that. Let's get it from the horse. And if you have any questions with them, let's talk about it. Let's talk it out, because they deserve that. Mm-hmm. You know, I've dealt with 2 divorces in my life, but in both cases, I sat down with the kids and explained to them succinctly, this is what it is. This is what it's going to be. And you can't just go down and file for divorce and leave your kids in limbo. Mm-hmm. I don't condone it. I don't believe in that.
Mm-hmm. Now, since you had that sit down with them, yesterday's practice, energetic. Today's practice, energetic. Smiling faces, bouncing around.
Yes.
Have you been surprised at that?
And my door is like a darn saloon. Am I saying that right? Saloon? Yeah. Yeah.
Revolving door saloon.
Yeah, it's a saloon like in a Western.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you this, you family. Coach, can I go? Even some of our walk-ons, because they know how much work is involved, and they know if they're doing their job, they will get promoted. We would give them a scholarship. It's funny, promotion. Tito got promoted, didn't he? Yeah. He was a cameraman to a walk-on. It was a scholarship. Yeah. But we don't like all promotions. We just like some of them. Yeah. Anyway, that was just a shot. But they know that I will give them the opportunity to rise and become a scholarship player if they have it. Yeah, if they work it, if they want to, if they show us that they can do the job. So I'm getting a lot of that, but I'm keeping in mind some of these guys. I'm like, guys, you need to stay here because now you're going to get an opportunity to start and to play and to show what you have on tape. You just need tape. Scouts going to come because you have the tape. So we've had 32 scouts come this season. I expect that to continue.
You're about, as we have this conversation, 10 days away from the end of the Celebration Bowl.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to these next 10 days?
I almost said honestly, but when somebody said honestly, it's like they get ready to set up a lie. I hate when people do that. Having a great practice tomorrow. Let me explain. Let me digress. I gotta take my time and be careful the way I answer because I'm coaching two programs simultaneously. That's not ordinary. That's extraordinary. And I'm thankful that both ADs have given me the opportunity to do such a thing. So when I tell you what I'm going to do here, I also got to tell you what I'm going to do there without you getting a little funky attitude. Yeah. So we're going to have a great practice tomorrow. We are, and we're going to give the young men and young women and staff a break for a couple of days, 3 days. Then we're going to come back and practice really hard and condition on the Monday. But after we practice tomorrow, get on the plane, I got a huge recruiting weekend in Colorado, a huge recruiting weekend. And we don't sell anything because we're genuine. Show these young men and young women and the parents who we are, what we are, and how we are, and the change that we expect to occur. And to get them to commit to this new thing that we're establishing, just like we established a new thing here. Then when we come back after a couple of days, we're going to reunite and get this thing back going. We're going to leave to go to the Celebration Bowl on Wednesday. Going to work our butt off Wednesday morning, go to Celebration, go to Atlanta. Then we work our butt off. I may give them that evening, they may have a midnight curfew because I want them to get it out you, man. I know you're going to do it. Get it out you. Let's go and get it out. All right. I know y'all going to Magic City. All right. Okay. I'm going to have somebody in there to make sure it is what it is. Matter of fact, I know Magic. How about that? Okay.
Atlanta's your town.
Yeah, Atlanta used to be. Okay. Still, Magic's still my dog. So, although I hadn't been there in about 37 years. Truth. That's true. We're going to let them have a good time. Then we're going to get back to work on Thursday and hone in Friday and be dominant on Saturday. Then I'm going to get back on the plane and go and have the biggest recruiting weekend ever had in the history of Colorado. That's how it's going to go down.
All right. So that was the interview, right? You can catch that on the pregame show, which is big content show for all things Jackson State. And if you don't support them, you know what I'm saying? It's up to you. It's cool. Now, I want to take y'all to what aired today. But I want to go to some specifics because there were some things in here that needed to be said, right? So, you know, here they are. They're talking about the announcement.
Some more, but again, Chuck, there was no tears, no anger, no how dare you. I feel like you're selling us out. Why would you get me here and leave me like this? All this stuff that fans feel, that fans see, that just wasn't taking place, you know, in that room. The room was upbeat. The room was positive. It became jovial when time from that with players cracking jokes and imitating him and that kind of thing. But it was something to behold to see him sit down with his players, because Chuck, you know athletics, you know college athletics, you know that's something that doesn't happen all the time. A lot of coaches, when they leave after that last regular season game, they have an assistant or the AD informs the team. They don't have a team meeting.
Right.
A lot of coaches don't coach that bowl game. They're out of there on to the next thing. Where here's a guy who sat down with his team for probably about an hour, and it's also said, no, I'm not gone. I got to do some stuff there, but I'm going to coach this bowl game. I want to be part of this 13. I want to see through. I want to finish with my guys.
Yeah, let's go into the world of college athletics, big time college athletics. We see coaches move around all the time. We see it on the Group of 5 level, Power 5 level, and many times Group of 5 coaches get picked to go to the Power 5 and perform on that level. In this HBCU stratosphere, we're not exactly used to a Power 5 team reaching into the HBCU ranks and plucking one of our coaches. Obviously, a tremendous amount of angst within the Jackson State fan base, but this is something out of the norm with regards to picking a coach in the FCS level. But it's not something out of the realm of what we see every day in major college football.
Not at all. Let me start with this. Hats off to Ashley Robinson, as you like to say, Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics. You all say director, but Chuck go with the big words. Hats off to AD Robinson for bringing in a Coach Prime, for bringing in somebody who could do the things that he's gotten done here, bringing in somebody that Power 5s or even NFL teams would have wanted. And the key word in that for me, Chuck, is wanted. When you look at the history of Jackson State football, we have a damn rich history. We have a great history tradition of Jackson State football. The last time we had a coach that somebody else went after aggressively was when Tennessee State came after Big John Merritt. And we all flood to Memphis and go to the Southern Heritage Classic, and we have this rivalry with Tennessee State. But people don't really know where the rivalry started. The rivalry started, because we had this up and coming, soon on the path to be legendary coach in Big John Merritt, and Tennessee State came and courted him away. And that's when the bad blood started. But after that time, even when you got into the W.C. Gordons, the Bob Hills, when you got into the Big Daddy James Carsons, there was no recruitment or mechanisms out there where somebody was trying to take them away. So even in our legendary history, this is new for us. This is new for us. And Chuck, everybody grieves differently, and I think people are entitled to grieve the way they need to heal. Chuck, this hurts. I understand people's angst and being upset, but what they have to understand is this is part of life in the big leagues. This is when you have an athletic director that's aggressive and goes after a coach like a Deion Sanders, and that coach performs, somebody else is going to want him. Somebody else is going to be able to offer him. Somebody else is going to reach out to him. It's the same thing that happened with Independent Tennessee State when they came after Big John Merritt, because they saw, like, hey man, they got something special down there in Jackson. I bet we could get him to live in Nashville. And so now up there in Nashville, man, you got streets named after John Merritt, you got parades, you got football classics named after him. Because he went on to be a legend, and they got him away from here. But it hadn't happened since then. And this so this is new to us. If you were born in the late 70s or especially 80s or the 90s, you don't know losing a coach to a bigger school, because HBCUs in the SWAC, we just transfer. I mean, you look at Dooley. Dooley played us in the SWAC championship last year at Prairie View, and he's back in the SWAC championship again in Southern.
With Southern, exactly.
What can happen here is create a space where Dooley can go to a mid-major or higher if he chooses to, and open doors for not only where he's leaving, but take people up with him that upward draft. So it's a new thing for us, Chuck. I understand. Chuck, I deal with understanding and agreement. I may not agree with you, but I can work with you if I understand where you're coming from. And I understand where some of our fans are coming from. I hear you, but you've got to hear the bigger picture of this. I hope that our next hire, 2 to 3 years after he's been in this program and built it and won 2 or 3 in a row, that somebody else comes after him too. That's what you want.
There you go. That's what you want. That's the forward momentum.
You want somebody that other people want, Chuck.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have said it better. When you take a look at it, that is what we look at in terms of forward momentum, in terms of what you want your program to look like. That you create something sustainable. That other people come and was like, wow, that they are doing something different down here. We want that within our program, and then then it becomes on us. Like, what do we do to keep that talent in our ranks? So you can't begrudge anybody for taking a job in terms of moving that forward momentum forward. So I think that's
been one of the.
Success took a shot.
Oh yeah. Training, not Training Day. I'm sorry. Forgive me. American Gangster. He goes to meet with the Don, and he's complaining that somebody shot at me the other night. He said, "Look, man, that's success taking a shot at you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do? What, you gonna become unsuccessful?" He said, "We can be unsuccessful and have friends, or we can be successful and have enemies. Like, that's just the way the world works. People are gonna come after you, and people are gonna recruit you." And that's what you want. You want upward mobility within your coaching ranks. Chuck, I don't know your housing situation, but most people live in a house that somebody lived in before them.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that moved out of the house that you live in, they moved to a bigger house in another neighborhood. And when you moved into the house, you left a house from a lesser neighborhood. And somebody moved into that. Everybody moves up when somebody moves, Chuck. There's nothing wrong with moving. And when somebody moves, it does not make them a sellout. It does not make them a bad guy, particularly when they did every damn thing and then some that you paid them to do.
Yes, sir.
Chuck, what are football coaches paid to do?
They're paid to win.
Hold on now. After he says what he says right here, I'm going to transition because I need to continue to lay down the evidence in the presentation so I can get out of that and then open it up.
Football game. Paid to win football games. I think Deion Sanders won some football games.
I think he did as well. I think no doubt.
So Chuck, they're not paid to bring in partnerships with Walmart to get turf fields. They're not paid to go on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. They're not paid to on the cover of Sports Illustrated with two players. They're not paid to bring Good Morning America here. They're not paid to attract College Game Day here. You're saying they're just paid to win football games. Well, we paid a guy about $300,000 who not only won 2 back-to-back championships and bowl game appearances, he's also done all of those things and even took a portion of his salary to help complete and furnish a building for the football athletes. And that's just a snapshot of the things he's done. And so when you look at having a guy like Coach Prime coach your program, with all that he's done in 3 seasons and the impact that he's made and the reach and the spotlight that's happened to Jackson State and other HBCUs, my head ain't low. I ain't lost nothing. We won in this. We won in this deal. If we would have paid him 30, if you'd have known everything that was going to happen from Sports Illustrated to Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon to College Game Day being here, if somebody told you to put a price on that in December of 2020 before he started, being 10 times more than $300,000, the marketing and media exposure that we got out this thing. Not to mention, Chuck, you said it. You're the smart one on here. College coaches are paid to win football games. What is he, 27-5?
He's 27-5, yeah. With 3 of those 5 losses coming in that spring season. So
and then the 2 remaining, one was against ULM, a former national champion that didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then the other loss was a bowl game, which was a postseason game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, it's been a while since he's lost to a SWAC opponent.
Well,
2 seasons.
And I think you said something really interesting. You understand. We understand.
Now, you can watch the whole episode, man, on the pregame show. I'm not going to get into all of that. But let's move on the argument. So, remember, we want to do evidence-based arguments. We don't deal with feelings and emotions. That does not get us anywhere that we needed to be. So I'm going to take you back to things that I mentioned earlier on. So this is from HBCU Sports. This is an article about Coach Prime's time at Jackson State. It mentions the hire. We already talked about that. So September 2020, he became the 21st head coach. They go to jacket with the JSU on the insides. February 21, he wins his first game over Edward Waters, a D2 school. They win 53-0. Then they played the Orange Blossom Classic. It skipped the whole spring season, but it mentions the spring season games. So this article is a little bit off. It needs to be updated, but he wins some games in the spring season. He loses a couple of games. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was that. In the fall, they go win the Orange Blossom Classic against Florida A&M. They win 7-6. December 4th, defeat Prairie View 2017, claimed their first SWAC championship since 2007. In between that, they go undefeated in the SWAC. They end up there at this point 11-1 going into the Celebration Bowl, which they will lose the Celebration Bowl and be 11-2 at the end of December. All right. He becomes the coach of the year in December. All right. Now, on the 15th, he signed Travis Hunter. The 18th, you know what I'm saying? They lose to South Carolina. Okay, we can move on. Spring of this year, April 24th, Jackson State was the first HBCU to have nationally televised spring game airing live on ESPNU. I'm going to say that again. In the spring, Jackson State was the first HBCU to have their spring game aired on ESPNU. You saw Travis, he showed out. All right. April 30th, NFL draft. James Houston from his fall season is drafted. First player under Coach Prime to be drafted. They begin the new season this year. They beat the slap out of FAMU 56-3. And they set the tone for the season. I might got the score wrong a little bit. Anyway, in October on the 8th, after they beat Alabama State, they won the programs for the institutions 500 win. On the 16th of October, 8 days later, he on 60 Minutes. And then 13 days, 2 weeks later, he's on ESPN College Game Day. 10 days after that, he's on. They beat Alcorn to finish the season 11-0. December 3rd, they won their next championship, right? So that's where we are right here. Now, remember, everything I'm doing is evidence-based. If Coach Prime was not for the culture, now I'm going to show y'all. If he wasn't for the culture, how would he be able to do certain things? So, going back to that a year ago, I ain't got to play the sound. This is the new practice field, right? This is the new, I'm going to say it again. This is the new practice field. Y'all do not want me to show you the old practice field. You do not want to see the old practice field. Look at them. They putting the field down. So this is letting you know that something bad was there before this was there. They put a whole new field right here, ladies and gentlemen. Right? It's showing you that. Right outside, they will rebuild inside here and make them a whole new thing. Now, to move forward from there, I'm sorry, I ain't blew this up. Now, this is the locker room. I mean, this is everything right here. Look at the locker room. New locker room. Ain't nobody seen this junk. This is the first time showing it to some of the kids. Boom, he cut the lights on. It's hella dope in there. This look like a P5. They got, of course, the training room. Didn't even have training tables before. But if you see the training room now, it's plush. He's showing you the new lobby, all of it. So I don't want to show y'all how it looked finished, because that would just be wrong. But you know what? I don't even care. I'm gonna show you where his money went to complete all of this. New meeting room. Look how excited he is. It's for the kids. That's what he said. For them faces. Now, you heard the Jimmy Fallon reference that was brought up. What he got on? He said every time that he go on TV for any interview with anyone, he got to be on code. For him to be on code means that he got a brand. To brand means that he got to make sure that he got the Jackson State hat, hoodie, shirt, jacket, jean, colors, whatever, every time he go wherever he goes. So that's the Jimmy Fallon you heard about. Here's the 60-minute interview y'all heard about, right? There's a 60-minute interview, okay? There you go right there when his toes was amputated, just for people to know. You know what I'm saying? All of that. So he's there, right? Here he go with college game day. But guess what, y'all? We forget something very important. The man was on Good Morning America. Watch this. He was on Good Morning America. He on Good Morning America, right? This ain't the first time he's on it. He's been on there a couple of times. Because, you know, Strahan, which created the suits for everybody. But we finna see what this does. Because I like facts. So this is the Good Morning America, right? We ain't got to watch the whole episode. Look who out there. The cheerleaders is out there. Behind the cheerleaders is the band. Of course, Travis is going to be on there. Of course, Shador is going to be on there, and they got some fans out there too. They got the cheerleaders, the band. They got all that out there. You know what I'm saying? All on Good Morning America. So Good Morning America, 60 minutes. Jimmy Fallon, right? College game day. College game day, y'all. Fumble, right? You got all of this going on. So let me see if I can get to it. Let me see if I can get the updated version of the I don't want that one. Nah, I need to I want y'all to see. Oh yeah, the Under Armour guy came in and gave everybody brand new shoes. Ping pong. Let me get the ping pong. Just let y'all know right here. I should have went to the kickers because the kickers. So this is the lobby right here. It's complete. So you're gonna see it, right? They go to the training room. They got the training tables in there. You just saw the training table. You see Prime over there. They playing ping pong in the lobby. They got the screens behind them. They got Xboxes and PlayStations over there for people to play Xboxes and PlayStations. Behind them, where they play ping pong, is they got the lounge. They got the lounge behind them, which you ain't gonna see in this. Hold on, let me see. And they got the barbershop over there. I'm just trying to see if I can get a good shot of it. If you look back there, right here in this right here, they filled all of this up, and they got everything going on that they need to go on in the lobby. It's complete. So let's see if we can find it now. Let's see if we find it. See if we can get them on the barber. So here go the barbers right here. He put something out on Instagram and had all the barbers come in and cut people hair. But like I said, for the kids to do that, they didn't have none of this before. They didn't have a spot set up for them. So now they got all of this right here for them to go on inside of that lounge while they playing the game and doing all the other stuff. Right? So what I'm trying to show y'all is that he did all of this, and that ain't what his job description is. Oh, yeah, I don't want to talk about his son being a drum major, bringing the band into it or anything like that. So I wanted to show everybody what happened at Jackson State in 3 football seasons was the prime effect. He set a trend. Yes, he goes to Colorado. After they win the SWAC championship, he takes the job. People are going to be emotional about it. But it's the wave of he's a coon, a sellout. You heard everything that people were saying prior to. The countless shows that have been made about Coach Prime. All of that had nothing to do with what he's done. And then some people have gotten over their anger, and then they began to turn around and say, we appreciate everything that you done. But no, you were still calling them names and cussing them out and all the other stuff. Calling him a hypocrite, saying he sold you a dream, sold you a lie. You got a barbershop in your lounge. The players do. They got a barbershop. They got a lobby to lounge at. They got a place to eat all their food. They got new food in that lounge for the players. They got a training facility. They got a rehab facility. Yeah, can some other stuff be added to that to build on it? Hell yeah, you got a nice foundation. You got a turf field, improved practice field, improved track around the practice field. You got a training mountain for like sand for people to go out there and get their quickness and stuff up. You got brand new weights. You got brand new TVs everywhere. You got a new meeting room, new locker room, you got new equipment, new shoes, new cleats, new game jerseys, practice jerseys, helmets, all of that. No head coach in the history of college sports has ever invested its own resources to improve the situation so that they can feel comfortable running their program. No head coach has ever done that. Find me one. I'll wait. Go find me a college coach that's getting money from a university to coach football and recruit. Take their money, their resources, their time, and invest it. Oh, by the way, did you know that Coach Prime was also cutting the football field? The university is supposed to be paying somebody to cut the football field. But no, it's your boy out there on a tractor rolling around there cutting grass. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Him with his dog by his side. So, in my conclusion, based on the evidence, Coach Prime set the standard for not only sports or the cornerback position, but how to dress, look, feel, and play. He then invested time, energy, and efforts into the program while he was there. He left the university better off than he found it, and the institution had its opportunity but continued to do business as usual and mishandle funds and created a mess that drove the short success Coach had out. Based on the evidence, was Coach Prime for the culture? Absolutely, he was for the culture. Everything he did embodied Black culture. Everything he did embodied the HBCU experience. Everything he did was relatively related to the traditions of HBCU sports, academics, and otherwise. He represented HBCUs everywhere that he went. This was the reason why I showed everybody what I wanted to show everybody, because people tried to say that he ain't SWAC. Where everywhere he went, he represented the SWAC. He made the SWAC a national entity. People wasn't looking at the SWAC. It brought more viewers. Jackson State alone, ladies and gentlemen, and this is just in 2022, 30 million to the city of Jackson. He did that last year too. Brought in more than 30 million last year. 30 million to the city of Jackson. 9 million for homecoming, 4 million for the Boombox Classic. Number one recruiting class in HBCU history, signed the first 5-star to an HBCU in history. Most number of quality prospects to commit to HBCUs in history in 2021, put HBCUs on the map nationally. Televised games. Listen, the ESPN TV deal with the SWAC is a $120 million deal over 10 years. 125 games aired throughout the 2022 season. College Game Day came to JSU, only the second time in its history going to an HBCU campus. He put HBCUs on the map. The NFL attention, he established an HBCU Pro Day for pro teams to evaluate HBCU players. And he had an XFL Pro Day for XFL coaches to also recruit talent and draft players from that camp. And he had a camp for high school kids several times for kids that were under a certain age that were looking to get recruited and scouted on Jackson State's premises. He did that. That hadn't been done before. There was a lot of firsts that he did, that he invested his time into assuring himself that would happen, all while fighting a water crisis. The second time the water was messed up, he took all his kids off the campus again, and he paid for the hotel. Went right on in and do what he needed to do. Now, did we want to continue to see this success elevate and grow? Absolutely. Is he a sellout? Show me where he sold out at. Is he a coon? Show me where he was cooning at. If he sold you a lie, show me where he sold you a lie at. He said God called him there. Well, the same way God can call you there, God can redirect you in his faith, in what he believes, in what y'all believe, because y'all, those of you who practice the Christian faith. Because all of y'all always throw God and Jesus out in front of everybody when something good happened to y'all. And we be sitting there looking at you like, bro, you just seen me give you $10,000 and you finna tell me, thank God, thank you, Jesus. No, Negro, thank me. Thank your brother. I gave it to you. Didn't nobody motivate me to get that to you that was outside of me? No, when you was in trouble, you needed help, I went in my pocket. You better off because I had it. And you didn't know where it was going to come from until you asked me. But that's another story. Oh, the Michael Strahan suits. Who got Texas Southern didn't even, which is his alma mater, they didn't even get the suits for all the players, dress shirts, prime type of kids who didn't have ties. He got them ties. He let them swag out their suits, you know, unbutton it, not wear ties, show your gold chain, show your jewelry, flex up, all of that. Look at how he comes to practice with 2 gold chains on, with emblems on them. One is a gold chain with a gold whistle. Another one will be another little piece. Now he just wears his PRE rope with the ring on it, representing Young Dolph and Paper Route record company. So he keep the Paper Route Empire on him at all times in memory of Dolph. He keep that. He don't take that off. That's just something that is ingrained in him because, you know, his son was affiliated with that. He brought you Rick Ross, Snoop Dogg, Yellow Beezy, Gilly and Wallow, all the P Valley. He brought all of those celebrities to Jackson State games to just see the games, y'all. We're talking about, we hear people arguing what Jackson State did for Coach Prime. And then everybody's saying, but he was only doing it for himself. What was he doing for himself? If he invested so much more than what Jackson State gave him back, you're saying the opportunity was bigger than what he gave you back? Are you out your mind? He gave you wealth every day. He gave you something. He gave you a piece of him every day, because I seen all y'all sharing his posts, retweeting his posts, on Instagram liking his stuff, on Facebook liking his stuff, all of that. Y'all, you showing it. He created a media space on YouTube for HBCU sports. Not just because his son had a YouTube page, but my boy Offscript, Blue Bloods blew up. So Offscript blew up, Blue Bloods blew up, Cut Date blew up, Blitz City Podcast blew up, Jeff Lighty Sports blew up, Swag, both of them Swag channels, they blew up. Swag Buzz blew up. The pregame show blew up. It's a whole lot of other little HBCU channels that actually blew up. The Black College Network blew up. HBCU Go comes into play, blew up. The commissioner and the president was nowhere near Coach Prime when he got the American Airlines deal for Jackson State. Oh, they can fly anywhere they want to. This is why he can leave on Thursday or Friday night, really Thursday night or Wednesday night, because all they got is VIP American Airlines, fly them from Jackson to Atlanta in an hour. They get off and they there, and he can get them some time to themselves, set a curfew, boom, boom, boom. It is what it is. But I suspect, because what happened last year, that a lot of those players who might enjoy the city is not going to enjoy the city this time because of how last year went. There's going to be a different agenda and a focus there that's going to transpire throughout that thing. Now, him leaving, is there going to be a sore patch? Absolutely. There's always growing pains, but he is still tied to Jackson State. Because when people think about Coach Prime, they're going to think about Jackson State. When Colorado comes up, Jackson State. When Prime goes and have success at Colorado, Jackson State comes up. Because they're going to say, this is pretty much the same thing that he did at Jackson State, where he yada, 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 yada. It's still going to be married together. So again, with evidence, I need someone to show me where he was a coon, where he was a sellout, and where he sold you on something. Because he invoked God? He sold you a dream? Are you serious? You can't name a coach that's been in the same place for more than 10 years. I don't even know if Nick Saban been at Alabama that long. He has 6 national titles. Of course, he don't want to go nowhere. He done built something to where he ain't got to do nothing but just sit back. But the thing about it is, before Alabama, he was at Michigan State. I mean, he was at LSU, the Miami Dolphins, Michigan State, and then some other schools prior to that. smaller schools. Nick Saban has been places. He ain't just been somewhere for the amount of time. You don't have those legacy coaches no more. The coaching carousel is always spinning. Look at LSU. Look how many coaches LSU has had. Now they got Brian Kelly from Notre Dame, who wasn't at Notre Dame before because he was at Cincinnati. And before Cincinnati, he was somewhere else. Look at Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was at an FCS, no, not an FCS school. He was in a Group of 5 school in the Midwest, Ohio, or somewhere around Ohio. He was there. Then he was at Florida. Then he was from Florida to trying to do NFL stuff. I got it wrong. He was at a smaller school to Ohio State. From Ohio State to Florida. Doing some trying to coach in the NFL. They kicked him out of the NFL, and he's back at being an analyst on national TV. There's no forever coaches. They don't stay there 10 years or more. Nick Saban is just special. He getting paid so much money. If he wanted to leave, they're going to pay him more money. They have the boosters, donors, alumni to do that. If we are to prevent things like this from happening in the future, you have to put your money where your mouth is and invest in your athletic programs, and alumni bases have to rally together to rest assured that the president isn't underfunding the athletic department, and these coaches are getting paid to make sure that they are retained and growing the program in the direction in which they need to grow so that everything can be facilitated appropriately and your program can remain in dominance. If you keep misappropriating funds and you keep supposedly not paying him for attendance, for people over 30,000 in attendance, he's supposed to get a percentage of their money. To avoid paying him that, you need to stop. Somebody opened your books, and in your budget, the athletic department information was not even in the budget. There was $48 million budget that talked about everything but the actual athletic department. What happened to the athletic department information that's in that budget? So again, yeah, there you go. Gary, thank you, Gary, for the correction. He was at Youngstown State, which is in Ohio. I just forgot the name of the school. Then he bounced around like that, but y'all knew where I was going with that information. So what are we seriously talking about here? He's done more than he received back. Did the fans love him? Did everybody adore him? Absolutely. Absolutely. He turned the program around, restored Jackson State to prominence. Prior to that, they was like 3-8. So he restored them to prominence, put the boom back into full effect. He got everybody. Now, this is the thing. Everybody keeps saying, did it help other HBCUs? So let's talk about that. With what he did it help Jackson State and it didn't help no other HBCUs? Well, he had an HBCU combine pretty much. That helped HBCUs. Everywhere Jackson State went on the road, they sold out games. That helped other HBCUs. Now, granted, it's the SWAC, but they directly benefited from it. Recruiting increased in the SWAC. Not only the SWAC, but the MEAC. Not only the MEAC, but the SIAA and the other conferences, because there was an uptick in the type of talent, which would then trickle down to those other conferences and lower divisions of Black HBCU sports. Rightfully so. But it made people look into those other conferences. It made people begin to question bad business deals and practices that the SWAC has done on previous deals, like with ESPN, and then these classics where these promoters are robbing the freak out of y'all. And I'm saying y'all like that because I ain't losing no money. But they're robbing the freak out of these classic games. And we're sitting here saying, well, no one else really benefited. Yes, you did, because the football coaches on the coaches calls on every Monday, when they all this buzz about prime and recruiting and so on and so forth, even Maynard went on the record to say, well, they all can't go to Jackson State, so it's only right that some of us are going to inherit a lot of that talent that prime can't keep. And what happened? Some of his kids went to transferred to Mississippi Valley and played over there. He had some other kids going to other schools and played in other schools. So I don't want to hear it didn't benefit other HBCUs. It absolutely did. It benefited the SWAC. It benefited the MEAC. And those other conferences inherited some of the hype because everybody was interested in it again. It was talked about. Nobody was paying attention to the MEAC until Coach Prime played South Carolina State, overlooked South Carolina State, and OG Buddy Pugh won that game, won the game. When South Carolina State won the game, the MEAC got more attention and eyes on its programs. Why do you think that people was watching NCCU earlier on in the year when they beat South Carolina State, beat North Carolina A&T, ran through all those other schools, and was on a roll? Because people was paying attention to them. Because of the Celebration Bowl, which was nationally televised and had probably the most viewers it's had in a long time. This year's Celebration Bowl was already sold out, ladies and gentlemen, and we ain't even at the game yet. There's standing room ticket sales only in Atlanta unless they open the third tier. They only do the first and second tier. They open the second tier after they done sold out of the bottom tier. The first tier and the second tier sold out, and now it's only standing room only, and they got two areas behind the goal post up high where you can stand and watch the entire game if you want to. And they selling the standing room only tickets for $40. Initially, the tickets was $20, $40, $60. And then you had the booths, and they were at a special price for a little while, but they $250 now. So there has been an influx. The Sonic Boom has been enjoying the ride because they on TV, they on ESPN, bumping, getting to exercise their rights. Jackson State had the most number of games aired this year on ESPN, Family Networks. They had 11 of their football games. They're 12-0. I don't think the Mississippi Valley game. No, Valley was on ESPN3, which you could be seeing on the app. All their games was on ESPN, on ESPN networks. Now, let me go back to people benefiting. Not only did other HBCUs benefit, but that media space that was created in the entry of Prime in this short span of time allowed those other schools to get recognized, because then you start having people talk MEAC, talk SEAC, talk all these other areas and grow and learn and know about them if they didn't know it before. There's 1 million or 2 million, 3 million extra eyes on SWAC football. Real talk. Finding a new interest and a new love in something and not just garnering all the attention out. Me, myself, I found myself watching more HBCU football this year than I regularly do. I'm telling you, I'm a big Auburn fan. I was missing Auburn games watching HBCU sports and then would catch Auburn in the ticker, especially this year because they were trash. But prior to that, last year and the year before that, I was watching HBCU sports, but I wasn't heavily invested in it like that. Driving 6 hours to Jackson to go watch Jackson State play Texas Southern when Texas Southern wasn't good last year, but I watched it. Going to Atlanta to football games to see them play, going to Memphis to see them play, giving people that experience. This year I went to Memphis, saw the whole game, had to walk 2 or 3 miles just to get back to my car, drive around Memphis, find somewhere to eat, sit there and eat, and then drive 3.5 hours all the way home. Then get home at 1 o'clock the next day, and then turn around and go to work. Like, y'all tripping, bro. Okay, so I don't know if we still got anybody in the chat that's on the okie doke, but my soliloquy is over. I laid it out right there. Absolutely, and all the other teams. Listen, I know I talked about Jackson State on ESPN, but there was other schools that was on ESPN too. I told you that they had over 125 HBCU games aired on ESPN networks. So I don't want to hear nothing from nobody else, man, unless you got some facts. What up, Mo?
You funny. You said, I don't want to hear nothing unless you got some facts.
I do, man. I'm tired of people's emotions. Now, I had you on the show yesterday, right? You had you gave a nice little spiel. People wasn't even thinking about nothing that you were saying, but when you said what you were saying, you see how quiet that damn panel got?
Yeah, I always wanted to, well, peace, power, profit to everybody who's watching. I wanted to bring, because a lot of times, let me go back. You said about the culture, and remember when the hype went up about what is swag, right? Yeah. And after you sit back and you think about it and you hear and you listen and you read the comments, and I don't think I read so many comments before in my life, but you read the comments because you're trying to get an understanding of what's going on. That's what real researchers do, right? You try to hear both sides. And I asked myself, I was like, so are they trying to tell me SWAC is stagnated? Because if you really think, because when you go back, I think someone they posted that in 2019, that attendance, and you could look that up, Sean, and fact check that. They said the attendance was Jackson State had the #1 attendance.
They did.
In 2019, right? Okay.
They've been leading the FCS in attendance for a long time.
Okay,
so State fans come to the games.
Right.
Win, lose, or draw. That's their fanfare.
Right.
City of Jackson.
So with like most, so when they talk about culture and they talk about attendance, so right there, that's where we should be thinking about. They said, well, we were coming to the games before Coach Prime. Okay. And if that is so, then somebody should have been paying attention to, okay, if we're bringing in all of this money, because everybody knows football draws money. I don't care what level you on. Listen, I went to a junior college before I went to my HBCU in Kansas, and we was at if I showed you the school, dude, we had 3 buildings, one administrative, one basketball gym, which was connected to rodeo school, and the other was a dorm. And we used to pack out the stands in football. So everybody knows football brings money. But in the same sense, right? If you bring it in money, and if the revenue is flowing in, and you don't see no changes, but they say some changes was happening on the campus, but guess what? You talking about if your football players, if your football team bringing in money, there's no reason to have a bad practice field. And what I was trying to paint, the picture I was trying to paint yesterday, Coach Prime said something very key in one of his in the interview with 60 Minutes, and people don't really talk about this part. And I think he said something to the effect of, I put seats in the stands, and then I went after the sponsorships. People don't get it. If you got numbers, you can write any grant and land it, right? They want to see results. If you could show them result, you got numbers. So they'll say, okay, that's the first thing. How are you going to get your numbers to get the results that you're looking for. If you got results, when you produce results, everybody coming to you. That's like 101, you know? And so, but guess what? We have to go back and we have to revisit policy. So if policy says that any fund, because we have this issue at the high school level, because at my high school, my high school in Louisiana, one of the
Hold on,
alumni.
hold on. While you're talking, I'm showing you the field conditions at the vet.
Right.
I'm showing you the field conditions at the vet before Deion Sanders gets to Jackson State. This is the field that they play games on, y'all. Look at the patches. But go ahead,
That's
Mark.
rough, bro.
Why I'm just showing this off.
That's rough. And I'm because I want to make it relevant to how it play when we talk about culture. So my high school predominant Black, right? And so one of the alumni decided they started the tailgate, because we didn't tailgate before. In the first year, just to go show you how it worked, the first year they brought in the parade, and this is in high school, and the tailgate, the whole city, I think we came, I think almost every class showed up, right? So the school brought in all of this money, but they wanted to take all the money and didn't want to do anything for the program. And we was like, whoa, hold up, push pause. You can't do that. But guess what? They could. But the alumni went to the school officials and like, yo, whoa, hold on. Okay, next year we can't do that. So then they learned that, hey, you have to, there's some areas you're gonna have to restrict funds. So we had to come in over. So the second year, third year, they started doing things a little different in how the football players can get the money, because as long as people came in the stands, people bought, you were there for that football team, that money went to the general fund, and the principals and whoever decided where that money was going to go. So when we talk about culture and taking care of our culture, man, we got to change policies, because this stuff been in place for years. And now that the people is more transparent because of social media, right? And cameras, your phone cameras, you're able to see what's going on. And so that's not a Jackson State issue. That's on all levels, and that's a problem, because there's no way that a leader takes, if somebody's, you want to reward, and the reward wasn't given. In my opinion, the reward wasn't given, and someone outside came in and they actually start showing us, because when you make people look good, shoot, they get out there and they show out. You get that new pair of sneakers, you get that, I mean, even in basketball, in practice, whatever, you look good, you show out. And I think that when we start talking about culture, we have to, we can't paint the picture that we are satisfied in lack. But in the same sentence, come back and say the state not giving us enough money. Hold on. You making money. And Coach, he in the chat, Coach talk about this all the time. We make the money to self-sustain. The question is, where's the fiscal management? Where's the fiscal management? Because you can't tell me that having a $35 million economic impact in the city, which means that the school probably was bringing in whatever they were bringing in. You cannot tell me that you couldn't self-sustain, and that money can overflow in all the programs. I can see if you say, you know what, the football paved the way, but football, we're going to help the basketball, we're going to help the baseball, we're going to, you know what I'm saying? If you just kept it in the athletic department, or give them a nice percentage to help all the departments, you know what I'm saying? I think that that's where it comes to. It's not that we can't self-sustain. I think that the individuals that we allow to caretake the funds, because guess what? The president can't act alone. He has a trustee board. At least I know my HBCU does. So he can be removed if he's not caretaking the funds of the school properly. But that's a whole. I wanted to make sure that I had bought in that fiscal management piece, and also don't sleep, y'all out there in the chat. Bring up that American Rescue Plan, Sean, for HBCUs. Bring up Google American Rescue Plan for HBCUs, because I'm sick of y'all in this political game talking about current administration ain't give no money to the HBCUs. Oh yeah, let's look it up. Sean said we
2.7
have to
billion.
show receipts. Sean said I got to cover receipts on this show. Here you go, from the White House. There it goes, and it shows it. Let me see if this is the one you want, because you want the one where it shows come all the way down. Maybe you don't want come down. You should be able to see every school. Come down. Okay, you want the link. Oh, no, but you can see it. There's a link where you don't have to click on them. Go back. There's a link. You can see them. You can see them. Yeah, click right there, maybe.
It's a recent survey, Presidents by American Council of Education, found here.
No. Go back on Google. I may have to send you the link. Because you should be able to, when you click on the link, you won't have to open up each state. It'll show it to you. Don't pull up a fact sheet. Yeah, click the award right there. U.S. Department of Education.
Hold up, I got the wrong one.
Yeah, go to the one that says the Department of Education. Yeah, that one. Click that one. Let's see if that's it. And scroll down. Now, let me send it to you. Hold on, I got it.
View state by state breakdown.
Yeah.
View full list of institutions that receive grants.
Yes, click right there. It should be able to when you bring it up, you should be able to see them. Scroll down. You're in the right place. Now you gotta click another link, I think. Supplemental support. Hold on. Let me get it.
Okay. They talk about it right here. Mississippi received $237 million.
Oh yeah, it's so the whole state. Yeah, you
broke up, Mo. This what you talking about right here.
Come back.
You broke up, but this what you talking about
right here. Yeah, is it broke up? It shows each school.
Yeah, I just got to hit next. 349 pages, but it's got institution names, the city, state control, simulated allocations, estimated minimum amount of student grants.
Is that the do they show all the black colleges by state?
No, this ain't what you want. This is too deep. What, you put the link back here?
I put it in the chat.
Yeah, put it in the.
And you'll be able to. You're gonna see. There goes. Is in the messenger chat. Right there. That's one aspect of it. And when you scroll down, you're gonna see by state. Yep, it's already up. See?
Yeah, right there.
Look, listen.
Yeah.
They you'll see how each state. Yeah, you go to Mississippi.
$60 million.
60 million, honey. 60.
$60 million. What are we talking about right now? Where is this money at? Did you see this this ain't in the budget? Mo, where you at? You breaking up.
I think the part in the budget where it says I think they broke it out over 3 years or something like that. I think that's it. It's on that one line item what that says government giving or something like that. I have to go back and look. But I don't know because it doesn't specifically say American Rescue Plan. You could only think that it's talking about where it says the government line item. But I don't know because it doesn't come out to that dollar amount. And that's only 2 years, 22 and 23. But that's what I'm saying. And guess what? This American Rescue Plan is not just relevant to the HBCUs. Just like you put up Mississippi State, every state got money and they got the opportunity to spend that money the way they wanted to. So like here in the Carolinas, in Richland County, just in our county period, they gave money to the small businesses, to the nonprofits. They gave you opportunity to get $1 million. So I looked across many states and I'm like, wow, they're not even trying to help the local companies, you know, but they over here building jails and building, fixing on stuff that doesn't need it. So the question is, will the HBCUs take some of this money and fix up some of the infrastructure? Or would they just use it in their daily budget as usual? I mean, like, yearly budgets, annual budgets, and just add and fill in where they think they lacking in their budget. I would have taken the money and definitely did some upgrades because you don't know when you're going to get this kind of money again from the feds.
Well, send me that on Facebook.
All right.
You go to Florida. Damn near $100 million to Florida A&M alone. You said it's allocated how?
Are you talking about the budget?
Yeah.
What that we looked at that I showed you last night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. Let me look at it again. Hold on.
Where that money at in this?
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you where I think it's at, but hold on.
What a athletic department money at?
Department page, the last 2 pages.
The last 2 pages?
Uh-huh.
Put that PDF link. Put that PDF link in the private chat right here.
All right, hold on.
I won't pull it up. So for people who don't know, on March 7th, Department of Education announced a state-by-state breakdown of $2.7 billion in funding for historically Black colleges and universities provided in the President's American Rescue Plan. These funds were provided through the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund. Over the past year, HBCUs create pathways and opportunities for Black students to foster academic excellence throughout our nation. This infusion of federal funding, among the largest ever in the country's HBCUs, is a key part of the Biden-Harris administration commitment to share prosperity and equity for all Americans. This funding also complements other American Rescue Plan funds for critical institutions of higher education that serve communities of color. The American Rescue Plan requires half of these funds to be used to provide direct financial relief to students. The Department of Education expects far more will ultimately be used for that purpose. Did this money go to the local governments first before they could be released to these institutions? Mo said, hold on. So thousands of colleges and universities all across the country are using the HEERF to keep students enrolled and on track to graduate, as well as make college more affordable by providing emergency grants, discharging outside student debt or unpaid balances, and eliminating transcript withholding practices.
And we better not hear nobody could graduate because they had a bill. Because most of the which means some of the students, some of the bills are being left. They can't get full, like they're not getting full financial aid or student loans to cover balances. Remember when we was in school, if you had to get a student loan, you're gonna borrow enough to pay the whole thing. Well, they're not allowing students to borrow enough to pay the whole thing. So some of them are left with balances. So some of that money, a lot of that American Rescue money, that money gonna be into the school either way it go. And that's just one area, Department of Education. They probably got some more slipped in from other departments. I just haven't looked. That's
You
just
said
the
the
portion.
last 2 pages were for the
Yeah, look at the top. You see where? Okay, go all the way to the top. You see how it says Jackson
stadium.
State University Stadium? That's
Yeah.
the stadium, and then the other page should say athletics.
Salaries. So this is what they're paying people. So
Yeah.
how much money did they make off the stadium? Where that's at?
It should be in the revenue. Oh, there's a page before that. Hold on, go up. Go up. That's a all okay, so that's the wellness center.
Total use fundings.
So these are the last few pages are expenses. The first couple pages is where the income is at. Go all the way up.
Yes.
All right. Here. Where you at? Okay.
I'm at the beginning.
Right here. So you see how
The overall total right here though.
Right. So
Student fees, government appropriations,
yeah.
governmental state tax.
Government, yeah, the government appropriations and things like that. That's the money that come in from either the state or the feds. So it doesn't necessarily. I was looking for the details of the report. They didn't have that. I didn't see it on this one because each line item have details somewhere. You just have to look at it. But you're not gonna see it. You're not gonna see ticket sales either. At least I didn't see it. Do you see it?
Nope, I never saw ticket sales.
Yeah. I don't know what they classified under. And then the rest of it, see, is going to be broken down by department. Those are all the expenses by department. So you don't really get to see it on this particular.
Just
Because
so everybody can see. Command
Yeah.
L.
Yeah, because
ticket sales. There's no search for ticket sales.
yeah, public schools are all this stuff is public knowledge.
Right.
So
But
it's not like you
sales should be too though.
huh?
Ticket sales should be too.
Right. Everything that happens in the school, you should be able to see it. Like none of this stuff is hidden. So it ain't like we snooping in anything we shouldn't. All this stuff is public knowledge.
Look at this. They're showing some weak ass positives.
Financials, huh? Yeah, no. I know,
bro. You okay? So in a listen, you're averaging 36,000, almost 40,000 people a game at Jackson State. With your homecoming having at least 50 and the Boombox Classic having at least 50, and then you had a SWAC championship with about 50.
Yeah, you should have some.
You telling me, and I'm going off 2021, you're telling me that your department total use fundings was this, but okay, so you're saying you got a $12 million budget for your athletic department, right? So there's no page behind it. So now we know that there's a $12 million athletic budget for Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So up here, we should see where they had some type of reward for that athletic department, correct?
Yeah, but they don't. But you're not gonna see that. I don't think so. Go back. Are you all the way at the top?
I'm at the top. Total sources of funding, $93 million. Tuition required fees, non-resident fees, tuition requirement fees.
Right.
General support, interest funds, yada, yada, yada. Governmental program.
I think the ticket money is under general support.
You think the ticket money is hid here?
Yeah, it gotta be, because ain't no other way. Ain't no other line item. Ain't no other line item for it to go. Because where else would it come from?
So will we have an itemized breakdown from a different university that's more specific?
Let me see. Hold on.
And my next question would be, would this allow a president and institution to be able to misrepresent funds? Because if you're doing this like this, I think you have the ability to be able to fudge numbers. She got us on hold, y'all.
Which school should we compare them to?
Go to FAMU.
FAMU? Okay.
Yeah. Institutional support, $20 million. Research. And this is sad because this goes back to what you were saying about grant money. You open the institution up for research projects, you turn $500,000 into another $20 million. Like, man, listen, y'all don't know how my mind works. But if you know how to make these reports, you can hide money. Because you ain't disclosing everything in specifics. If this is a title and a place where you can just label all the additional things regarding sports and stuff like that, you can hide it under general support. You'll never get out of that.
Yeah.
You'll never have to explain yourself. But if the government is giving you a rescue money to be able to pay people's tuition, look at the tuition. The tuition ain't all of that. Look, it's saying $53 million. That's what they're saying, $53 million, and there's no change in that. How the hell do you hit $53 million spot on? Mo, where you at? Somebody explain to me, how can a university total tuition and fees hit 53 million spot on? There's zero change in any of these numbers up here. But your attendance is increased. And yeah, you got money for the government, but how much of that money? It's not telling me enough.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
Look what DeSantis. Hey, I just told him last night about the Republicans. I don't care who give you the money, follow the money. DeSantis just reallocated FAMU's budget and gave them $70 million. Man, y'all better go see these governors. Y'all tripping. I don't care who party they for. Yo, we need to look at this money. This is the benefit. Why? Because here's what our school has done for the state in the last couple of years. We are obligated to get an increase because you made an economic impact. It's not like you one of them schools and you ain't make no kind of significant impact to the state, to the county, to the city, to the state. Man, they better learn how to ask for money. You see what he gave them 70 million. He boosted them up new 70 million. Look, the breakdown right there.
Yeah.
But I sent you that. But
utility, look at that. Utility infrastructure.
Look at it.
26.9 deferred maintenance, 6 million FAMU, FSU, college and engineering operation. Yeah, all of that STEM stuff.
And check it out. That's on top of the money they got from America. You heard?
Yeah.
That's on top of the American Rescue money. Listen, I think that these schools they boosting them up, giving them some money. It's a matter of what they're doing. I sent you the budget too.
I got the budget on the screen.
Oh, okay, there you go. Let's see how they break theirs down.
It ain't nothing like what we just looked at. That's why I said Jackson State is too basic. Yeah.
You see how they got the details? That's what I was looking for, to see what the details consist of, so you could see how to see how they got their break.
A total of $8 million in recurring funding is requested to hire 50 faculty. Yada 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 yada. They showing you why they need the money.
Yes.
Jackson State just fudging numbers.
I mean, I could see if they have a more detailed one like this. This one is very detailed.
Yeah, but Jackson State just putting all of that in. That's what I'm saying. You have an opportunity to have, if you're trying to steal money or put money in places where you can go and get it later.
Look, they got a recruiting plan for staff and everything.
Yeah.
And then see, now they show you the actual numbers. See, they give you the details, and then they can show you how everything works. Let's see if they show their ticket sales and all that good stuff.
All right, let me
do a 5.
Nah, they don't show the ticket
Don't
sales.
show them either. But I wonder if so they probably got it in the same thing in general funds or whatever. So they got recurring funds.
No, I ain't got it here too.
Yeah.
We have to keep going.
But but
they detail. That's where we stop.
Yeah, it's a little bit more detail. Gives you a little bit more understanding of what the school is doing and where the funds is going.
Requesting funds, total funds requested. This the educational part. Oh, I mean athletics.
Yeah, do athletics. Yeah.
Yeah, athletics.
Sports. Oh, maybe because it's just, man, listen, this is just education. Well, education in general. So I guess nothing under sports.
Transport.
There we go. Team sports right there.
Team sports.
It was right. Go back up a little bit more. I thought that's what it said.
Yeah, since engineering is a team sport.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
This looks like it's something for engineering.
Just education.
Yeah, education on.
Okay, let me see if
this more too detailed though.
They broke it down. I guess that's how they got that 70 mil.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I'm telling y'all, man, they had that money, man. Ain't no way Prime gonna be arguing with the president about some stuff that they could work together on after he done made all them deals without the president. There's no way. You can't convince me of no other way. I'm not buying the bull jump. At all. And I'm like, I want to know where the money at. What is rescue money that these universities are getting? What do we do with it? Can we explain that to people?
You would end up showing how many students, tuition was paid, and I'm sure you're not spending those $60 million in a year for no ending balances for no students now. That money should last a long time. And but they ain't the only ones. Shoot, got a whole bunch of them on that list that got quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a bit, But that's where your board of trustees and your alumni national line officers, that's what. But a lot of the schools, they don't want to be questioned. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
They don't.
They want to be questioned, and
they hire money, Mo.
Right, but then that's where it comes up, where you say, okay, your HBCUs and you get, somebody comes in. Because I don't care if Coach Prime would have stayed and he continues to bring in all that economic impact and don't see no, nothing coming back, but he always have to keep
And that's what people don't understand. If you getting $30 million, all he's saying, can we get 10% of that? Can we get 10%? If we can get 10% of that, we could take care of our coaches. You could take care of Jackson State staff. You do that because he can do that every game.
Right.
He ain't asking everybody to do. So all he's asking was all the local businesses who profited from it to make an effort to create or allocate the funds so that y'all know that y'all got $3 million in this account and it's organized to pay these assistants X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Pay Coach Prime a little extra and all his assistants a little extra because they work for the state. So they get their regular base play plus some sauce on top of that.
And then in reference
if you're doing it 6 games, because he's fighting to get 5 or 6 games in Jackson. He don't want to play the classics because he feel like they were losing money. Had JSU been able to play 6 home games or 7 because of SWAC championship and stuff like that, had he been able to play those games like that, you talking more than 30 million. You talking 50, 60 million. And if you're really doing really big business, pressing it toward that 100 over a season, and you do that type of economic impact right then and there, those businesses who prosper the most, hotels and all of that, man, should be able to cut a check toward an endowment to save stuff like that from happening. Now you don't have a coach having to go to Colorado because y'all have an endowment, a local endowment, plus with alumni donating and an increase in the athletic department to take care of not only the football program, but your women's basketball program and of the other athletics.
Yep. And I, in reference to the students, them boys ain't gonna be mad. Them boys is eating. Them social media accounts are popping.
Yep.
I think, God damn, they getting views. They killing it.
Getting hella views.
They killing it. And so if you putting money in your kids' pockets, you talking about kids who coming from homes who parents ain't got no money to send them a stipend every week. But you let them eat off your celebrity name by just getting out there and just creating a couple videos here and there and letting the people come out there and view. Man, y'all crazy. Listen. Let me mentor under Coach Prime. Man, you ain't got to give me 3 years. Shit. Couple months, I'm in there. Benefiting all day. But good job on highlighting his career into his coaching. That was good work because many people not talking about the facts. They just talking and they just talking about the God complex, And the sad thing is, if they search their own lives, they will see where themselves have changed their minds on some things. That you specifically said that, God or whomever have said, right? So that's kind of what's getting me is like they were adamant about it. Oh no, he did a good job, but he said, God said, and then if you show them how, if you really just go and tap into their world a little bit, and then show them how in their own biblical world how men were elevated in different aspects, moved from place to place. They get mad with you.
Yep. I wasn't trying to make them mad yesterday, but I was making my damn point.
I know you was about to go. You was about to go there. I was like, "Oh Lord, I'm about to get them."
Yeah. Dude, they try to sit there and say they don't do that. I said, every last one of y'all give credence to God. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. The whole person that did the favor is right there in your face.
Listen.
And I understand that people, you can't tell people how to feel and how to express themselves. I understand that. And I'm not telling people how to feel and express themselves, but I'm saying if you're gonna express yourself, express with facts, not emotions, because you're on a platform where people are tuned in and all you're doing is It's crying.
I say be fair.
How many times can y'all keep on crying? And then on top of that, what had me going left and right about it is exactly what I said. People are more invested in trying to be mad at Coach Prime than they are in their own freaking relationships.
Man, listen. Listen here. I know one thing though is that be fair. You know, you got to be fair. And when I listened to the interview today, the last interview that they did, and he said he gonna be he gonna be coaching. You know, he's coaching 2 places at one time. He's mentoring them kids in both places. He got them. When you come back now, and it's if somebody left you and you was bittersweet, man, them guys were energetic. They was practicing. They were doing their thing or whatever. That means coach has a plan for them. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't have came back. Y'all acted ignorant, playing the crazy ass song or whatnot. You know, if he really wasn't for the culture, then he'd have been like, "Oh, the hell with them! Shit, they booed me at my own damn game that I'm winning the championship. Y'all some ignorant folks, you know." But nope, he was like, psh, came back, walked right back in the shoes, and getting ready to do his thing down in Atlanta. Like, I'm not even concerned about y'all, but you know, he have that one video where it says, I think if my confidence upset your insecurities or
That's the
something.
same.
Yeah, and pretty much that's what it is. Because if you crying and them football players are not crying, then guess what? You should be asking those players why they don't feel the same way you do, because the players at the end of the day is the person that had that family connection with Coach Prime, and he come back and he say, yo, the reason you want to stay is because you're going to be able to dominate the field. You're going to get more footage because I'm sending the scouts back to you to watch. I'm paving the way so that you can still get what you get. I'm still invested in you. Don't listen to them crazies out there at the gate. Don't listen to them folks outside that gate. You here so that you can be able to do what you need to do on the field because you ain't able to do it over there. You can get your footage out. These scouts could come and see you, or them scouts gonna be watching, and then boom, you move to the next level if it's worth it.
Hold on, Mo. Let me see if I can give an example of the crime.
Okay.
I thought he was going in the direction of recruiting. Can't stop it. He already
Cam Newton.
Okay. Whatever I was saying, as far as recruiting, as far as that ain't never going away.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
So he talking about the magazine Sports Illustrated, which I didn't show. That's the one thing that I didn't show on here, ladies and gentlemen, was the Sports Illustrated cover of Travis, Shedeur, and Coach Prime. We forgot, I forgot to mention that to y'all. Hold on real quick. No, I don't want to play no more of that. I don't want nobody even get in tune to do, when they crying. But it's a whole lot of crying. I can go to Blue Bloods. If I go to Blue Bloods channel and let y'all hear Blue Blood, watch this. I'm going to do it. Shout out to Blue. That's my guy. Zach. That's my guy, man. He smart individual. I got to watch today's show. Smart individual. So he did a live show. And I want y'all to hear this stuff. Watch this. I got to mute because he got commercials.
Well, I want to say.
I didn't even share my screen like that. I saw a guy on Facebook today say the only person that owes an explanation to is God. And you guys should have saw the amen comments on the post.
I gotta say something. But I want to say something about that because I think watching thing. I think that they take. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mo.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think they took God. You can't hear me?
You broke up.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You can hear me?
And coaches, you see everybody not coming with him, right? Who did he recommend to be?
There was a body, like my apartment, the back of my apartment backed up to a McDonald's on
It's hard. Remember when HBCU game day was there and he went public and went live and asked them, hey, can we not have any killing for the entire weekend so that nothing overshadows the legacy of the moment and things like that. But it kind of touches, I don't know if, I don't think that it was done with the intent to kind of throw a shot.
Again, I don't want to hog up the line, but the previous caller you just got off the phone with, he said Prime, one reason he did choose to go over to Colorado was for his the pay for the assistant coaches. That's kept Blue, and you know that's kept. Okay, if it was really about his assistant coaches, you see everybody not coming with him, right? Who did he recommend to be the head coach?
TC Taylor.
Exactly. So what that tell you? Right now he don't got a job. At least he might be the interim coach, something like that for now. What about Coach Fleet? Is he coming to Colorado with him? Nope. He wasn't.
I heard he might. I don't know who all he's taking with him. I don't know who all he's taking with him.
But I'm saying this is 3 hours of crying, y'all.
But here's what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say this from a Jacksonian.
The hoods I run all up and down the East Coast, all the way down to Florida.
Crying.
Me collect, and I accepted the charges.
Here we go.
And
Listen to it. Listen.
Season tickets, percentage of.
People really got to get up their feelings. The way he left, that's unacceptable. But you can't take away from what he did. That's all I got to say.
Hey man, I appreciate you. I agree with you too. I talked earlier. I think he can win. Let's see.
Next call.
I'm pretty sure this is Timona. Timona, you live?
Oh shoot.
What they mean? You know what's crazy?
Hold on, Mo. You gotta hit
Loud and
Timona.
clear.
You gotta hit Timona.
Okay.
So I've had a time to mourn and grief and just take time to put my thoughts together before I actually spoke out about this situation.
Mourn and grief.
And I wanted to first off start by getting rid of that narrative that Jackson State needed to offer him more money, more and more. Like, Coach Prime is one of the highest paid FCS coaches with all of the incentives, the percentage of sales from season tickets, percentage of sales from the home games. He's clearing $1 million a year.
All right, so just clear this up real quick. Part of the problem is what she just said last. That he's supposed to be clearing $1 million and he ain't clearing $1 million because he ain't getting the money from the games at the stadium. The incentive for over 30,000 in attendance, he ain't collecting that, ladies and gentlemen. And she under the impression that he is getting that money.
Mm-hmm. She's not paying attention.
Right. She's under the belief that he is getting the money and she ain't paying attention because her feelings is in the way. You see how she's processed everything. So listen to her again, Mo.
Okay.
Also have to look at the trajectory of Jackson State. Coach Prime brought Jackson State to prominence and winning 2 SWAC titles in less than 2.5 years. Like, it was kind of like jumbo speed. And I don't think that Black people are necessarily mad that he left. I know for Jackson State alums, and I'm sure those student athletes, the reason why people are upset is because of the whole God sent me here, God called me collect, and I accepted the charges, and you can get drafted from an HBCU. Like, it was the whole narrative that not just Jackson State bought into, but the world bought into this narrative. And that's another reason why all of these Fortune 500 companies are like, wow, look at what Deion is doing. Let's invest our money over there. And so we just got so much recognition, and Jackson State went onto the stage. And then I think that Coach Prime realized, you know what, I've hit a wall here, and it's not a wall that I'm going to be able to overcome before Shedeur gets drafted. And that wall is, there's no way that there's going to be a stadium built. It's not going to get approved to build. They're not doing that.
You see how she processed?
I thought they did approve it.
Yeah, they pump fake approved it, but there's no plans involved, so they don't know how the stadium looked or anything like that. But she's adding to it.
Yes,
remember, she's still under the thought process that a $300,000 a year coach is getting $1 million,
right,
after incentives,
right. But
the president wasn't giving him no other money. There's arguments behind the scenes. He's putting more into the university than he's getting out of the university.
And in reference to the how he came, God sent him. He said God sent him. He didn't say God sent him to reside, to be permanent, to become the president. He didn't say none of that. I think that they analyzed that wrong. I just really think they analyzed that wrong. Okay, he sent them. He answered the call. He went. And how he left you with a championship. What are you saying? Like, I can. So if he didn't win any, I don't understand that. You got to help me, Sean. Somebody got to help me understand that. It's how everybody keeps saying it's how he left. He left you with a championship. He didn't
in an undefeated season.
Yes, he left you. He left you.
He ain't left yet. He's still playing the coaching celebration ball.
Right. He left you with some endorsements or whatnot. He left them kids with clothing. He left them with a gateway to these scouts. Who else is who? I mean, he left so much. I don't understand what they're saying. So you're telling me that God can only, if someone says God sent you, that it's permanent? Show me that in your word. Please do. Because majority of the individuals left the place to go to another place. You got to show me. Somebody gonna have show you got to do a show on that, Sean.
We ain't got no evidence for that, Mark.
I know. You're gonna have to do it. We gotta do a show on that.
When it shambles, like LSU, even when Nick Saban left LSU, right? LSU didn't win a natty, but they were a prominent team. They didn't win a natty, right? And then he turned around and then he had Alabama. You know what I'm saying? And Alabama wasn't winning just like it. Took a couple of years. They turned the program around and then they went on a tangent.
Hey, look, and then they say, how you leave a winning school to go to a losing school? So what I took out of that is that Coach Prime's calling is to transition losing programs. That's what I got. Now they got Coach Prime's calling was to come there and stay and make sure all the other number of HBCUs go. So he should have went, because they're like, well, once he left, he should have went to another HBCU. Okay, guess what? It doesn't matter where he goes. If you don't think, and then when they say, oh, he didn't open the doors for other HBCUs, well, check it out. Right before he did that, right before Coach Prime came on the scene to the HBCUs, remember Master P brought his son to Texas State?
Tennessee
State. Mm-hmm. My friend's son, Christian Brown, her son was at Georgia University. He left Georgia University to come play for Tennessee State. You should look him up, Sean. Christian Brown. He do his thing now. He 6'6", whatever. And so the wave of those students, these student athletes been coming through those avenues and changing and going to HBCUs, and a lot of people enrollment is up. And if you don't think that they rode the wave of Coach Prime, y'all are crazy. Y'all are y'all are looking for things that y'all want to support your argument. And the only reason they can back to the point of, well, God sent them. He said God sent them. Well, you really have to analyze what does that really mean? Because if you stay stuck in a place, even though that you already prepared, it says I go before you to prepare a place for you. So if he came there, he did what he needed to do, and he's like, okay, God, all right, I ain't got nothing else to do. Hell, I'm dominating all the schools. It's time to go. Got time to go do something else. And then you go tell somebody what God tell him. You can't tell nobody what God tell him. That man said, hey, if it's time to go, it's time to go. I don't know what y'all God telling y'all. I can tell y'all what he telling me. And you got to battle that with your God. Maybe God trying to tell you what to do and you ain't doing it. And you think it's God and it's not. Listen, I could play both sides of the fence because I'm around it all the time. And I listen to people when they say it, I be like, well, if God can tell you this, why he ain't tell you that? You just didn't hear it.
Hold on, I got a little treat real quick, Mo.
Who is Slack? Baby, 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 I am Slack. Baby, who is Slack? Baby, I am Slack. Baby, who is Slack? Baby, I am Slack. Baby.
Now, I don't want to hear nothing about none of that, right? Because it's the kids that follow him.
Yep.
To that. Now,
yes.
Now, this is what everybody mad about.
Homecoming?
Yeah. Right here. Right?
Oh.
They revert right back to this. Right back to this.
Is that
he gonna say a little thing real quick, so I gotta let the music. Now, they saying that this coach, it ain't Sweat.
Hey,
but he just wants them jokers.
You see the
people,
fans?
yeah, they like that every. Listen, Mo, they was like that at every home game for him. Now the other side wouldn't be filled up like the home side is, but it'll get around there, and it might can fit another 15,000 in there, but it's crazy in there.
Wow.
It's crazy in there.
Listen,
if you ain't never been to one of them games, man, it's crazy in there.
Listen, I know that
it's even better now because they cheering and stuff. Last year they was quiet. Last season, this season it was more energy.
They're cutting up. The crazy thing is that we come and we show out when we're together, and when they say things like how ain't they know another Coach Prime, well, it's about how he went about doing it. He allowed those kids to have fun. He allowed them to listen to that crazy ratchet music or whatever and jump around. But then he also taught them how to balance, how to be serious when it was time to be serious. When they didn't do things right, he got in their butt. When they did great things, he rewarded them. Like, it's about balance. And I think that if they understood that, hey, you guys can have fun, you can do your thing, but guess what? When it's time to get on that field, and I love how he says, if you didn't do what you're supposed to do in practice, don't think you're gonna start. The person who step up is the person who playing. So he makes sure the whole team, not just a fraction of it. Y'all need to be prepared at all times because you don't know when it's your turn to get in. Because if he mess up, you up next. And that's what I loved about him. His whole balance overall. He allowed everybody, because I mean, think about it. If you go to other school games, they could get wild and whack when you play the music that they like. When you cut up, somebody in the stands cut up, or the mascot cut up, or the dancers or whomever, or the band cut up, right? It's nothing like going to a game and the band is not playing. Oh, you be like, what's wrong with y'all? Because if they cut up and get the crowd involved, oh man, it's lit the whole time. So what I saw that he showed was how to stay on fire the entire time, how to come out on fire and how to stay on fire. So when they already in the stands, all they got to do is keep the fire lit. And people coming. If they're having a good time, they coming. Look at these folk. USC in Carolina. I always laugh because in Carolina, right, they be tailgating. And when Carolina not losing, they'll be out there having a good old time. Regardless, if Carolina winning or losing, they'll be out there having a good time. They tailgating at the games. They doing this. All you gotta do is just bring all that stuff back. I mean, continue that stuff. Continue that drive in your school, and you'll be all right. And SWAC will be all right. MEAC, CIAA. I'm gonna tell you, CIAA will off the chain until that damn flag, that Confederate flag, caused a lot of problems. And then by the time they moved it and they took the flag down, it had lost a lot of its energy because people got deterred because of that or whatnot. But I remember when I was playing college basketball, we used to have those tournaments all the time in the Carolinas, because we got a lot of HBCUs over here as well. We used to have those tournaments. Things was lit, things was great. But boy, when that whole rallying around that flag, this, that, and whatever, no schools didn't want to come here. So we end up losing the fire. So I mean, like I said, you just gotta go back to the drawing board. And fiscal management, you gotta change the policy. Change the policy, you get better results. So, I know you gotta go to work, and I'm sure not gonna make you stay up longer than you need to.
Oh, nah, I'm off.
Oh, that's why you hype.
Yeah, I'm off. Yeah, I'm off.
But that whole I think they're doing an injustice to the religious aspect of it. I just think they are, and I don't think they being fair with it either.
Nah,
because
they ain't gonna be fair. They ain't gonna be fair. That's why I'm saying, like, they calling hypocrisy and saying all this other stuff, but they the ones doing it. So look, I want to take you back to Well Off Media, to Bucky's page, right? This is Bucky's page.
Yeah.
4 years ago, right? Look, he ain't got that many videos. 4 years ago. Then 2 years ago, he dropped his little video. Another video. Another video. Another video. Another video. He wasn't even doing football like that on this channel like that because they had the pregame show a year ago. But he was handling the social media stuff. So then he began to blow. Here you go. 1 year ago. Look at the video. Look at the views. 1K view, 879. Now they in Miami when he doing this. 1.7, 2.1, 10K on the video. Look, 25K hit right here. 25K. 1.1, 1.6. Still wasn't a lot of views, right? 7.5 views. 14K. So some stuff was hitting, some stuff wasn't hitting. Still wasn't a lot of traction. 43,000 now. That's the most views within an 11-month period 11 months ago. Still, he ain't got nothing more than the 43, right? You don't see nothing more. And boom, look, boom. His Money Old video got 98K. So now he finally got a music video with 98K views. Another one with 42 because it's Shiloh's birthday, right? Then they still don't get enough. Still don't get enough. Then all of a sudden, 49K over here for the fist fight, right? They let the fight play out in the spring. They got the knucking. You know what I'm saying? The helmets was on. They were trying to blow some steam out. Then listen, right here. Deion Sanders Jr. starting beef at Jackson State practice. 185,000.
He learned how to title them.
Yeah. Then he come. So 185,000 is the new prize. 23,000 on Travis video. But there's other videos out there to do that. 40K on Coach Prime. 72,000 on Shador want a tattoo. 51,000 on Travis and Shador practice, and 74 on Travis new teeth. 34,000. Then look, watch this. The closer we get to the season, 73,000. His numbers, it still ain't a lot of views. Look, Shador and Travis get into an argument, 200,000 views. He still had 48,000. He had 20-something thousand people at this time. Just subscribe. Then boom, look. Deion Sanders says he'll knock out boxer. That got 178,000 views because people like that. Still now, look. Deion Sanders mad at his kids, 642,000. Almost hit a million. Crossed the halfway mark. Still, look, 3 months ago, Mo, this is what I was saying. 3 months ago, his videos wasn't doing nothing. But look, as the season progresses, he's just averaging like 27, 30,000 views or whatever. Now, 100,000 over here. Gotta highlight them. Then all of a sudden, you know, he's still getting 8 or whatever views or whatever. Malachi got a video on here that went viral. He ain't really going viral. He just going steady.
Yep.
45 between the argument between Shador and Shiloh, and they telling him to transfer. Shaloma, her video get 87,000. All right, so we still at 3 months ago, right?
Yep.
Okay, 286,000 on Deion Sanders is furious at his daughter being out late. Everybody knew that because she was supposed to be in the practice. She said she was somewhere. Shiloh gets 62,000. People love Shiloh. 115,000. Deion says Shador owes him a chain. 19,000 on Travis. Old school Deion. Some practice stuff. People love the practice stuff. 56,000. Then Prime backs off the, take the back flaps off. That was a thing. Now I'm finna speed it up. Right? We getting close. It's season time. Warren Sapp. Here we go. Warren Sapp, right?
Hey, you heard Warren Sapp the other day?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm going to give me a degree because I'm going to coach with Coach Brian.
Yep. Now, the season starts. Michael Vick, 140,000. Vick is at their practice at the Orange Blossom Classic. Now the season has started. Look at that, 419,000 at the Orange Blossom Classic. Then it'll quiet down a little bit. Orange Blossom, all of this is Orange Blossom, right? Now, look, Orange Blossom again, 295,000, 402,000, 370,000. All of this is for one game. The Orange Blossom. So you got over 1 million views off of cut-ups that ain't nothing but a minute to 10 minutes for one game. Then Shador with the Beats headphones. Then you going into the next game, right? 84,000 against Tennessee State. He dedicates the shoes to Young Dolph. I'm at that game. That's the Southern Heritage Classic. Watch the whole game. I'm there. So now you got the Tennessee State views. Not as many as the Orange Blossom. But watch this. Just something just transfer. I'm just going to skip all this because there ain't going to be no real big numbers. And the closer we get to homecoming, you start seeing 50,000, 50,000, 50,000. That's Young Dolph stuff. 93,000, 71,000. They ain't picking up some steam. He getting back. He getting away from 20s and 10s, and he getting in 10s and 15s. He hitting 20s a little bit more. Then we come on down the season, and then all of a sudden, we start getting to this. Here we go. Travis in the prenup. Shador says no to something that he wanted. They in there with 200,000 views on some silly stuff. All of this is still silly stuff. Oh, I ain't skipped nothing, did it? Nope. The Bucky page go crazy right here. Deion Sanders talk about a scuffle at the end of the game. This is when he wasn't swag. This is when everything changed. So he ain't swag.
Swag made all the money.
Look, this is the ASU. He ain't swag stuff. All right here. Okay. Then we get the different angle of the handshakes and the whole shenanigans. And then all of a sudden, from that point on, here come who is swag. Now we got the who is swag, 120,000. Deion Sanders dancing, 130,000. 58,000 on the 58K on the message. Travis is back, 119,000. Shiloh in a scuffle because he hit the receiver, knocked his head off actually. Then Deion Sanders talk about being brutally honest with his football team, 760,000, right? Then they come out and get some, look, now they ain't doing no 9Ks, 6Ks. It was a pretty big time. Now they beating up Bethune-Cookman in Jacksonville, 850,000. Then they come back out. He have a little smaller number, but then they jump right back up. And here come the drama again. Travis and a fake argument right here. Almost 1 million views off that. Travis and Malachi, 104,000. 135 over here with Travis and Shiloh. And then P Valley come to homecoming. You already know all the homecoming videos over 100,000. Anything homecoming related over 100,000. 73, it started right here. Boom, 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 boom. All over 100,000. Look, I told you, all over 100,000, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 videos. They got some extra money on there, so almost 1 million there. Then he comes out, and what happens? 1.8 million for what? Deion Sanders almost threw him out the locker room. That's Snoop Dogg. What is this? Homecoming. This dude channel just blew up over the last few months.
And them subscribers just from a week ago. I was like, wait, he was just at 82. God dang. Crack the code.
And it was over from that point on. Look at that. 1.2 million when you talk about the Migos. And then it was up from there. All of this right here is what the recruits, everybody who had eyes on JSU, this is what they were looking at. Not only just this channel, but the pregame show as well. And you can tell it in the viewership how dominant it was.
And Travis and Shadur, they all got videos on their channels.
Yep.
Because their views went up too.
Like a mug. And then, Shiloh, of course, the clown of the family, he get 300,000 views on his J.
I like Shiloh.
Drum maze and stuff.
I always like a little rebel.
Yeah, and then it's continued to go crazy. And then the closer that they get to the end of this season,
the higher you go.
Yeah, it's more consistent. It's 30, 20, 30, 40, 50. He ain't doing no little, look at that. 618, you will immediately get kicked off the game. And people want to know why this is what I'm showing this. First, let me explain why I'm showing. I'm showing this because I'm trying to show everybody how relevant Jackson State will remain in people's minds, because all of this stuff is implanted in what has been created in the media space by the arrival of Coach Prime. I showed y'all how a year ago, there wasn't many videos prior to that 2 years ago. That spring season, Bucket had videos, but they wasn't uploading them on this YouTube page. They was uploading them on the JSU, the Jackson State page, and they didn't, and he wasn't concentrating there. As soon as he concentrated on his stuff, it went crazy. Deion Sanders talking about he leaving 1.5 million. 1.7 million when they get to Colorado. But how he talked to them kids in Colorado got 3.4 million.
Yep.
We talking this is last week.
Well, them checks looking good.
Man, you know they looking good. These 3 videos right here, these 3 videos by themselves, there's 5, 6, like almost 7 million views just off of these right here, these 3. Look, he ain't did nothing less than 30. He ain't did nothing less than 30,000 in the last few weeks. He got 18 right here, the lowest one. That was 5 days ago. Every other video, man. And look, if he uploads something right now, look, 10 hours ago, 200,000 views.
Look at that.
14 hours ago, 457,000 views. All he was doing was talking to some the kickers, the punters, the snappers and holders.
Yep. Try
Look,
to put it.
The team exit meeting almost at 1 million views a day ago, y'all. Don't hit 1 million. And his subscribers, I'm telling you, a week ago they was at, over a week. You saying 80, but I'm telling you, they was at 20. I seen them at 29,000. Then I seen it at 48,000, and then you seen it at 80, and now it's at 129, and it's gonna go up even more.
Because I wanted to see, I was looking at somebody else's subscribers, and I was like, wait a minute, if they subscribers going up, let me go check out Well Off Media.
Look at
and
his
I was
views.
like, oh shit.
Look at his views. And all of this is really coming off of 1 year, 59, almost 60 million views. And he getting paid off it.
He kicking butt.
Man, he kicking butt.
And go to you look at his.
They just got 15 million, but they still moving.
Look at Travis's and Shadur's.
Travis at 2 million views. He been having his channel, but he ain't load no videos up on his channel.
He tried.
Look at his subscribers though. He was at 20. His subscribers went to 60 quick.
Look at that. See, that's what I'm saying. Like these boys eating, these boys getting these checks. Y'all over here.
30. Yep. Should do a video. His last video he uploaded 3 days ago was 380,000. Yep.
I remember when Travis told Shadur, he's like, yo, my YouTube videos get more than yours. And that's when I guess Shadur start getting a little bit more serious.
Yeah. And look, this is his girl page. They only got 16,000 subscribers, but you know what I'm saying? As a new channel, they already at 500,000 views, almost at 500,000 views.
Look at that. They ain't got any videos.
Right, and they ain't got no videos on there. This is my homie Cut Day. He do a lot of cut up stuff. Cut Day stuff go crazy. Yeah. And I think his views is more than that. Look, he started this page in the wake of Prime. He knew Prime was coming. You know what I'm saying? And he got hella views. Let me go to crazy ass Scotty. Crazy ass Scotty, you know what I'm saying? Scotty didn't have that many people. But he getting there. Yep.
How you get to that little part?
Look at him.
Look at that.
2.7 million views. He don't even work no more. He was in the army too, Mo. He don't work.
I heard him say something about the military.
Yeah. He don't work no more. He at home every day.
And if anybody should understand change, he should. We change all the time. Okay,
Yep.
Your ass get ready to go. Bye. Tell him bye.
He don't do no real. His stuff is consistent. You know what I'm saying? When he do shows, it's consistently 1 million, 2 million, yada yada yada. Those are uploads. But I'm just trying to take it back as far as I can, just to show you that. Look, the video when he met Prime, ever since he had that interview with Coach Prime, right here, these videos right here.
Yeah.
He went up. Look at that. Just a year ago, it only had 666 views on part 2. But everything else was over that. Yeah, he met Prime. They got his subscribers up.
Yeah.
And he still ain't got nothing but 11,000. Look at his views. His views before he blew up. There ain't that many. 300, 700. You know what I'm saying?
Now look at who
his
was that?
His live streams go crazy. And as soon as I go over to his live streams, look, 3.3, 10K, 5K, 17K. This is where all his stuff, his uploads ain't there, but his live streams be getting the view.
Right. You know, people like lives.
Right. But if you're doing 30,000 views a week or more, Shoot, you gonna hit the money. You gonna make the money at the end of the month.
You sure are.
30 days. I mean, you have 4 weeks to do that. Shoot.
Yeah. Look at what's that? What's the school? The guy, the coach at was it Alabama State? See if they made some significant changes in their social media after that game.
Hell no.
They didn't?
Hell no. They ain't got none of this stuff we talking about.
Oh, nobody watching. They're not doing social media.
Social media team with okay. Show me where it's at.
Wow.
Show me the one that I'm supposed to go to. That's gonna be their social media.
Band. That's why when they asked me that question, I told them the only people that's on social media is the band.
Thank you.
Tennessee State basketball team is on there though.
Yes.
They do a lot of videos.
Yes, but okay. Now I'm trying to find a football team. Where they at?
Well, guess what? They ain't following the blueprint.
Exactly.
They ain't following the blueprint. That's their fault.
Look at that. Everything is about the band.
Well, hey, who fault is that?
This dude channel blew up too.
Who that?
Because he wasn't getting that many people. I unsubscribed from him because he was acting like old sis ass.
Is that guy who was cutting up? Let me see.
Nah, Blitz City. He from South Carolina.
What's his name?
Kobe with a C.
Oh no, I didn't see his.
Yeah, because I don't be on there. That's why. You know what I'm saying? Show up in your algorithm. He got that for me. You see what I'm saying? He got more because he became a Jackson State lover and Scotty became a Jackson State enemy. So people wasn't watching Scotty like that because Scotty was going against everything JSU was doing. So Kobe, ended up getting a few more views because Jackson State people, they were showing him some love. But he don't really hit too big. He doing his thing though, but he's still working and stuff like that. And he was dealing most of his videos about recruits, so he would do a lot of uploads about people transferring. As you can see, all his Jackson State stuff. Yeah.
Right.
He was getting all of that. Tavion Beasley, number 28, he had Jackson State right now. I wonder if he transferred and get to Boulder. He from California. And he played pretty good this year. He got in the games.
What's his number?
20. I said 28. His number 29.
29.
Yeah, he played DB. He's a pretty good dude.
Yeah.
But all these channels, even this channel right here, and I subscribed to it. I was going to subscribe to from this. They was crying and do all the damn crying. I can't take the crying.
But, yeah, I watched them.
Yeah, they've been around a while, but look at their views though. He ain't got that many.
Listen, I bet they start covering more of it. They gonna be blowing up. They gonna be on that Celebration Bowl. Come on, they gonna get all those views. Their conversation.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they do.
Well, if they learn how to
win, Jackson State win, it'd be all right. See, they live right now. Ain't they still live? I think they live right now. He on Cali time. Nah, he ended the live stream. Dang, we outlasted him. He just ended 6 minutes ago.
Yeah. What about what's that? There's another one that was talking trash yesterday. He the one that was saying how Well Off Media, how
the raw dude. I ain't subscribed to him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you who I'm talking about, who he is though. This is where we were. Well, you know about Doc already.
It's on Doc, yeah.
Yeah. Raw Media Sports. I think this is him.
Is that him? He got that weird.
This ain't him. Or it might be Raw Sports.
I didn't subscribe to him because I didn't really. Sometimes it's
right here, yeah, right here.
What's the name? Yeah, him.
Yeah.
Is that him? The one?
It's him. The one that was talking saying what he was saying, and then I butted in. He got 2 million views. I butted in, and he was talking about trying to justify brother. I was like, man, that's bullshit. That one I said this is bullshit. This him.
Oh, that's his channel. Is he the one that was talking about Well-Off Media and ESPN taking the rights or something like that?
The rights.
No, then you didn't watch it. Then you didn't watch his show.
Hold on, hold up.
Experts in online education. Purdue.
Let me see if this him, Mo, based on how he sound.
Okay. I think that may be him though.
Well, dang, YouTube.
Because there was one he was upset and mad on about the media, about the camera, about them hiring white boys.
Who hiring white boys?
They say Well-Off Media that they hired them to be a part of Well-Off Media channel, so they're gonna have to pay them to be
Colorado.
on his. Yeah.
Oh.
And he was saying the views. ESPN.
I might know talking about it. Might not be him. Him right here, but him right here though. Do he sound like this?
Let me see.
I don't know why YouTube doing it right now.
And now I'm in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Him?
All right. Yeah.
I'm gonna check.
And I had to watch this game.
Okay, so it wasn't this dude. I don't know who you talking about, Mo. He was on the show we was on last night.
No, he wasn't on the show because he was doing the show at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that picked up, different streams that made relevant.
But they go back to my point. They go back to my point about the space, the media space that was created. The media space that was created was no joke.
Yeah, man. Everybody named Mama, even mainstream jumped on the bandwagon. Roland Martin. Oh, I want to see this speech because Roland Martin's supposed to speak at JSU graduation Friday.
Oh, he finna rip them a new asshole.
Yes, because
he might not.
Well, he spoke in Savannah on this past weekend, and he said, "I'm gonna talk about the same stuff. I'm gonna see if he gonna talk about the same stuff." Because he was talking about he gonna go in on the alumni. He says the alumni fault that Deion left.
Right, yeah.
They ain't doing what they supposed to, which is true. Alumni giving is horrible.
Yep. But they say they're giving. I can show you. I can go back and show you shows on the 14K. I can show you with them. They claiming all of it.
They say they giving what?
Exactly. They ain't giving nothing.
The only school
thousands of dollars donating. They ain't donating.
Ain't no. The only school alumni that's showing up is showing out is Claflin University here in Carolina. Claflin alumni, their conferences that they give big. They give 55% of their students give, and it's been like that for a while. Whatnot, and a lot of hours, and maybe they may be giving, but they don't know how to make that stuff accountable. And that just tells me that they're not in those national alumni meetings, making sure that their funds are being accounted towards the alumni funds. Because if you just write a check and you don't put that you belong to a chapter, they're gonna put you under general funds, general support. So that means back to what we was looking at earlier with the financial statements, the general support looks like that's coming in from all athletic sales, regular checks coming in, and all of that. All that coming under one fund. Well, I guess what? They the sexy people that made it to your chat.
No,
you blocked
Zane blocked him.
Oh, he blocked him.
Yeah, so it only just show up on the stream, y'all.
Yeah. Oh, who? Kenneth. Oh, that's Kenneth. Kenneth. Yes, I did go to JUCO in Kansas. I went to Fort Scott. My coach. Well, not my coach, but the boys' basketball coach
See, I can put it on the screen, but it ain't in the chat.
Oh, okay. A boys basketball coach, when I was at junior college, had the same style, well, similar style as Coach Prime, but he wasn't black though. He was Jewish guy, and he used to have when I say style, I'm talking about in reference to them watching film, motivational little things that they did. I used to be hating like a mug. I used to be like, "Hey, what y'all doing in that locker room?" Because my boyfriend at the time played basketball, and I was talking to the coach early in the week, and I was like, "Remember, you used to have this, you used to have this mentality," because he's a principal now at a little middle school, and I was like, "Man, I used to be hating when we used to have the guys, but them boys used to be motivated like a mug. Like they don't understand just a little bit difference that it makes when you make yourself more transparent. You don't, you're just not there just to show up. You coach, y'all do good. Coach go his way, you go yours. But the coach practically engage himself in your life, so it become more of an uncle, so to speak, an uncle coach. Coach Prime became beyond a mentor. You know, he was like the epitome of how when we talk about culture on how to create an atmosphere for successors. And I think him recommending the guy TC to me means that the guy sat under him, followed the ways of him, knew how things were going, and he could relate to him and help him with the different resources, you know. And when you say, to bring somebody else in, they don't know how we got down. You want to bring somebody in that was under the tutelage or the leadership of Coach Prime, so that they can continue on how he kept those guys energized and driven to accomplish the mission. Like that's what you want that leader to create a successor, and so it continues to move to flow. I help you, you help somebody else, and so on and so on. I remember on the pivot when Warren Sapp said that, he would coach if he could. And I believe when he said, "Man, I'm going to get me a degree because I'm going to coach with Coach Prime." Man, Coach Prime going to have all the damn top athletes in the NFL help he can get. Like, if them cats going to draw to the magnet and people going to hate. They going to hate when all those players and or former players going to come over there and support and help him mentor and guide those kids, and they're gonna be upset, and he gonna leave there, do his little time, he gonna go somewhere else, and he gonna get them going, and people gonna be mad. They're gonna be mad. They're gonna still be talking about God said thing, and Coach Prime gonna be doing this thing, and these kids gonna go and play in the league, and they're gonna come back and offer their support economically or time and talent to the school. And people in the stands gonna be on the onset, still doing what they do, nothing.
Yep.
And I think that's how it's gonna go. And so anytime you got grown adults trying to follow Coach Prime, and then the Colorado guy gonna ask him, "Hey, you bringing Rob J with you?" Listen, that guy like, I don't care what y'all talking about. Shit, I want some of this over here. We got some money. Don't worry about it. Come on over here. We need that kind of thing going on up in this cold atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it could really work. I think that going back to the money piece, I think that how he connected with those different companies. I think that they could continue that. They just have to, and I think that even if they needed him to negotiate that deal for him, he probably would. But they got to do right by it. That's gonna be the kicker. They come in and say, "Hey, I want to buy some new uniforms for the basketball team," and you take the money and you go put it in some salaries somewhere. Or I don't know what they do, but that's gonna be the thing. Somebody come in and they want to do something. If that next coach is not strong enough to stand up for their team, then that money is gonna be redirected. Unless the coach says, send intangibles versus monetary. And that's probably going to have to be how it goes in order to benefit. You know, that's what I think.
Well, Mo, we ain't holding nobody else, so we're going to slide up out of here tonight.
Peace.
Man, y'all make sure y'all like the show, share the show, tell a friend, man. We had a little more to come from us. And we up out of this thing. Peace out.
Peace.
I realize this. Side I'm from where them hammers rung. In Atlanta slums, pop a nigga, sit and wait for the ambulance to come. I know if you a shooter, by the way you're handling the gun. Gambling, you're done. Shells burn like candles in the sun. I'm not a fan of gun violence, nor having a strap, but get popped once, and I swear that you'll be scrambling for one. But our plans was to get funds and skate off the set, so I mixed the kush with the dro to make all my weight stretch. I'm from where the dudes rob and argue all day about who's the best MC. Saha stacks of T.I. while dodging the GBI. My bad, I love GZI, but I'm still the best to ever do it, and I ain't even put a CD out. So the next time you say that I ain't got no lyricists, I just think you ain't got a taste for this exquisite shit. My verses are like Leviticus to the underprivileged. I make music for the world, you make music for a stripper bitch. Nick Black leather, beret cap era, guns at your capital, take it to that measure. It's Huey, nigga. It's Huey, nigga. It's Huey, nigga. Never been a victim, a rebel against the system. Lames wanna diss them and women just wanna kiss them. It's Huey, nigga. It's Huey, nigga. It's that God flow. What they nailed Jesus to the cross for. And he came back 3 days after he died flow. This Pablo. Talking to kids in Chicago. Mob flow. This that midget New Jersey drive flow. Side note. I wrote this rap with my eyes closed, bravo. Cause it came out clean as the Moss flow, Costco. Hoes selling they twat for a condo. Benny Hunters and Roscoe, Picasso. Nas mixed with a pop flow. Rappers can't stand me. This that Grammy Nas flow. Let me stop though, cause I'm going digital with the syllables. Saha the Prince and I'm royalty like residual. These hoes for me, they supposed to be hospitable. When they in the house with a nigga that's not typical, that's not fictional. I run this bitch like elliptical. Can another rapper come out of Atlanta if he not lyrical? Nigga, black leather, beret cap era, guns at your capital, take it to that measure. It's Huey, nigga. It's Huey, nigga. Never been a victim, a rebel against the system. Lames wanna diss them and women just wanna kiss them. It's Huey, nigga. It's Huey, nigga.
This that shot right, where out of towners die at. I advise you book your flight now and fly back. Gangland, bang then, what you claim, fam? Box Chevys, foreigns, $150 flow. Young nigga got bitches at the 50 though. 50 pack done, good, drop off 50 more. My city rough, but I made it in it. Trap house look like it's what K's invented. Trust nobody, even friends, look, I hate up in it. Riding dirty with your bitch smoking, wait a minute. LA garage with Illinois and Decatur in it. Niggas snitching, I'm like, way to win it.